Chapter 611. First update, Dong Dong Dong. With demonic beasts blocking the way, the three-sky demon quickly returned to the Abyss Battle Island on the Abyss Chariot. In this war, a total of 12 Abyss Chariots had appeared in the Demon God continent. Each chariot represented a sky demon. 12 sky demons were enough to flatten the entire demon realm. However, one of them had been cleaved apart by Di Shurtian, and the other had been crushed into dust when the demon city appeared. Even his demonic soul had been completely annihilated. Completely annihilated. Of the 12 eight-armed sky demon, only 10 were left. On the Abyssal Battle Island, there were hundreds of thousands of eight-armed demon gods. Each demon god was at least a Demon King realm expert, which was equivalent to an ancient great demon. More than half of them were demon emperors. That was equivalent to a demon saint. And on the Abyss Battle Island, there was a huge black throne towering over the Abyss Battle Island. On the throne, a beautiful woman wrapped in black clothes was sitting upright. This woman had a cold expression on her face. She looked around mockingly, and her eyes were full of a playful look. It was as if, in her eyes, everything in front of her was a clown, an ant not worth mentioning. On her forehead, there was a strange mark of a demonic moon. The crescent moon was like a hook. Princess. The remaining 10 sky demon stood on the Abyss Chariot and looked at the demoness. There was no obvious demonic aura coming from the demoness, but the intimidation she exuded was stronger than the 10 sky demons. An invisible aura seemed to be suppressing the 10 eight-armed sky demon to look up at her. This was not only a superior status, but also a natural suppression in terms of rank and bloodline. Her face was extremely perfect, and she exuded a seductive aura. Looking at her black hair, there was a pair of pointed ears. Not only did it not seem strange, but it also set off a kind of perfection. Add endless beauty to it. If one had a clear understanding of her characteristics, they would know that the witch before them was from one of the countless demon god clans in the demon god continent, a star elf. She was infinitely close to being a superior clan, and the 10 sky demon in front of her actually called her princess. From this, it could be seen that his identity was incomparably noble. Pass down my order. Beat the dragon rebel drum and command the demonic beasts to attack that ancient city. Balin, prepare to drive the Abyss Battle Island into the ancient city at any time. At some point in time, a small bow the size of a palm appeared in the hands of the princess. Specks of stars flickered on the bow, emitting a strange starlight. She looked at the 1,000-demon city that had appeared out of nowhere with great interest. Muttering to herself, I thought coming to the demon realm was just a boring thing to do, but I didn't expect the demon race, which has been in decline since ancient times, to give this princess such an interesting surprise. Interesting. I wonder if this ancient city can withstand one arrow from this princess. There was a touch of indifference in her muttering. She didn't care at all about the demonic beast that blotted out the sky and covered the earth below. On the demon god continent, these demonic beasts were practically everywhere. They were endless and uncountable. In war, these demonic beasts were the vanguard. No matter how many of them died, it wouldn't be a pity. On the continent, who knew how many demonic beasts were born every day? Dong dong dong. After the princess gave the order, 9 eight-armed demon gods stood in front of the huge war drum at the same time. Their arms held huge drum hammers at the same time, and they frantically beat the drum. The tyrannical drum beats shook the void outside of the island until it was destroyed inch by inch. Countless sound waves swept across the place. Roar. At the same time, countless black scales at the edge of the war drum opened up and spewed out a terrifying black mist. The mist instantly condensed into terrifying demonic dragons that were 50 to 60,000 feet long. The demonic dragons roared and danced wildly in the void, as if they had a mind of their own. Their huge eyes stared fixedly at the fiend city. As the drumbeats grew more rapid, more demonic dragons emerged from the war drum. Each one of them seemed to have physical form. They roared and gathered in the void. They danced wildly, stirring up the void and destroying it. As the demonic dragons converged, they were faintly showing signs of forming a terrifying formation. That war drum can actually form so many terrifying demonic dragons. Each one of them has the destructive power of the sky demon. Could the black scales on the war drum be formed from the demonic dragon's reverse scales? Heavens, if that's true, how many demonic dragons would have to be killed to refine this war drum? This treasure is so powerful. If it's pushed to the limit, just a single beat would be able to turn the void into chaos and shatter the dome of heaven. Countless people were incomparably shocked by the terrifying might of the war drum. Quick, look over there. The demonic beasts are attacking that ancient city. My goodness, there's so many demonic beasts. It's like an ocean. Most of them have the strength of a fiend king. There are hundreds of millions of demonic beasts gathered together. The sheer number of demonic beasts formed a demonic beast tide with unimaginable destructive power. The aura emanating from that ancient city is too powerful. Even the sky demon was suppressed and killed. It's simply too ferocious. I really don't know how this ancient city was built. Above the clouds, under the protection of the 4 heavenly gates, moving through the clouds, suppressing the heavens. Could this be the legendary, unparalleled divine city that was designed by some lunatic in ancient times? Impossible. That's impossible. It's impossible for that ancient city to appear. Materials that transcend the 5 elements cannot exist. Among the experts present, each of them was extremely knowledgeable. The old monsters who had lived for countless years didn't think much of the fiend city when they first saw it, but upon closer inspection, they couldn't help but think of an idea proposed by a lunatic in ancient times. It was an idea that was almost impossible to realize. That unparalleled divine city only existed in fantasy. Mere demonic beasts want to break through the fiend city that I spent so much effort to build. They're simply courting death. Deshertion coldly swept a glance at the overwhelming demonic beasts. Whether they were on the ground or in the sky, at this moment, they all soared into the sky and gathered into a demonic beast tide in the void. They turned into a black cloud and crazily crashed into the fiend city. Countless terrifying forces roared out from the demonic beasts. The sky was filled with 9 underworld demonic flames. Endless demonic blades and thousands of sharp blades all bombarded the ancient city. That scene, even the sky demon's faces changed. Temporarily avoid the attack. However, Deshertion was not afraid. Instead, his heart became more and more ruthless. In the depths of his eyes, there was a hint of terrifying madness. The fiend city is built with divine crystals. It's incomparably hard and indestructible. With the support of the immortal stone, mere demonic beasts want to break through the ancient city. Since you've come, then I will send you on a journey and completely annihilate you. Crash! Deshertion's heart seemed to be burning with a blazing flame. Crash! Bang, bang, bang. Even if it had shrunk, the fiend city, which was still over 1,000,000 feet in size, completely unleashed its power. Like a huge, savage beast of the barbaric era, it crashed into the demonic beast tide directly. On the spot, the ancient city collided with countless demonic beasts. The roar instantly resounded throughout the entire demon realm. The whole world was shaking violently. Countless voids were shattered. Countless powerful demonic beasts were hit by the fiend city. It was like a cow colliding with a mountain. Those demonic beasts' powerful bodies were like tofu, crushed on the spot. Countless pieces of flesh and blood splattered wildly in all directions. Rumble. Heaven and earth were silent. The fiend city suddenly rose into the sky and appeared above the countless demonic beasts. It was like an incomparably huge, ancient seal, directly pressing down on the demonic beasts. How huge and powerful was the fiend city? It could be said to be an incomparably terrifying divine artifact. Under the power of the embryonic membrane of heaven and earth, it had already completely fused into a whole. This pressure was almost enough to destroy the entire world. The heaven and earth below the ancient city suddenly shattered. Countless terrifying storms swept in all directions, affecting the entire demon realm. Under the ancient city's rage, even the sky demon would be crushed, let alone the billions of demonic beasts in front of them. Under the absolute tyrannical power, they could not even struggle and were crushed into meat paste on the spot. Countless rays of bloody light rushed into the sky, forming a bloody cloud. Countless drops of bloody rain drifted down, instantly dyeing the ground blood red. All the demonic beasts on the fiendish demon battlefield were suppressed this time. They were completely annihilated. Countless pieces of flesh and blood fell from the sky and landed on the battlefield, forming a thick layer that was dozens of feet high. The thick stench of blood filled every inch of the void between heaven and earth. Tyrannical, ferocious, barbaric. The Fiend City was really like an unparalleled demon god. It swept through all directions, and anyone who dared to provoke it would be crushed into powder, their souls completely destroyed. That terrifying scene caused the world to fall silent. Enveloped in the bloody rain, the Fiend City was like an emperor bathed in divine light. Boom, boom, boom. The Fiend City suppressed the void, crushing countless demonic beasts. It looked coldly at the bloody rain in the sky and said resolutely, "Back then, I said that I would use the flesh and blood of countless demon gods to forge an altar. The altar would be called the Fiend Sacrificial Altar. I would erect a stele on the altar. The name of the stele would be Brave Soul's Stele. Today is the day I fulfill my promise. Gather the boundless flesh and blood to forge the Fiend Sacrificial Altar." The Fiend City below trembled violently, suddenly erupting with boundless resplendent crystal light. It spread out and instantly landed on the bloody rain and the boundless flesh and blood on the battlefield. Immediately, the huge amount of flesh and blood seemed to be summoned, crazily gathering above the Fiend City. The crystal light enveloped the entire ancient city. It turned into a crystal pillar that reached the sky. Under Di Shurtian's control, the power of the Fiend City instantly surged out. The crystal light enveloped the flesh and blood. It surged endlessly into the flesh and blood. Immediately, the flesh and blood that gathered endlessly from the battlefield and the void seemed to have a life of their own. They wriggled violently and continuously merged together. The boundless flesh and blood whizzed up, strangely forming a huge blood-colored vortex. The vortex exuded a strong suction force, sucking in the flesh and blood from all directions, causing the blood-colored vortex to turn even denser. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 6:12. Second update. Moreover, a strange fragrance was being emitted from the blood-red vortex, and when one breathed it in, one's mind would be refreshed and instantly recover to peak condition. It was the fragrance of flesh and blood. The vortex spun with incredible speed, and as it continued to devour flesh and blood, it didn't grow any larger. It only grew brighter and deeper. This was a type of refinement, a refinement of the flesh and blood of millions upon millions of magical beasts into the purest form of flesh and blood essence. Vaguely, tiny blood-colored crystals could be seen within the vortex. These crystals were formed when the flesh and blood essence reached a certain level of purity. Heroic soul, return. Clang, clang. Indra looked at the blood-colored vortex shrouded in the crystal light, allowing the vortex to swallow the endless crystal light. The crystal light was the power of the demon city, and the vortex swallowed the crystal light, unconsciously connecting with the entire ancient city. Once it took shape, it would fuse with the ancient city. At the same time, he unsheathed Tiger's soul and reached out with his left hand. Saber light flashed, and a gash appeared on his index finger, causing blood to gush out. Even with the colossal body of the giant, the golden blood that spurted out of the wound was like a fountain of blood that was constantly spurting out of the wound. It was a terrifying sight to behold. However, he did not stop him. He extended his finger and waved it in front of him. His waving was not without order, as if he was drawing something. Every time he drew a stroke, some blood would flow out from his index finger. This blood was drawing some kind of mysterious seal script. Lines of golden seal text were quickly formed. Heroic soul, return. When these golden seal characters were formed, there were faint sounds of prayers coming from the seal characters, as if they were alive. Aeon Martyr Sacrifice? You want to use the Aeon Martyr Sacrifice to refine an altar? These are sacrificial runes that only appear when refining blood altars. Underworld couldn't help but cry out in surprise when he saw D. Shurtion use the Aeon Martyr Sacrifice. These runes were none other than the Aeon Martyr Sacrifice he had once used in the Skysplit Tower. Every sacrificial inscription that was condensed from blood had a mysterious power. Legend had it that it was written specifically for those peerless experts who had fallen in the ancient times. As soon as he was born, he possessed inconceivable power. As long as there were such sacrificial rites, one should immediately stay away from them. If they violated it, they would be cursed for no reason, suffering unimaginable misfortune. This was a kind of power that protected the soul of an expert. That's right. I want to refine the demon sacrificial altar using the same method as the blood sacrificial altar. All those buried on the altars could have immortal heroic spirits. Anyone who has contributed to the demon city should be qualified to do so. D. Shurtion said in a deep voice. His hands were rapidly writing out a series of sacrificial runes. These sacrificial runes condensed into golden words in front of him. When they were connected together, they formed a complete sacrificial rune. Go! Under D. Shurtion's control, the funeral glyphs quickly flew into the blood-red vortex. Every time a funeral glyphs entered, the blood-red vortex would undergo an incredible change. Within the vortex, countless blood-red crystals rapidly condensed. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, when the last funeral glyphs entered the vortex, the entire vortex underwent an earth-shattering change. The entire vortex suddenly stopped spinning. In an instant, it converged like flowing water and condensed into an ancient blood-red altar. It solidified and turned into a blood-red crystal. A three-tiered, nine-cornered altar appeared in the void. On the altar, countless golden sacrificial runes continuously appeared. Among them, one could faintly hear the sound of summoning heroic spirits. Bang! The blood-red altar crashed into the demon city and stood in the middle of the city. In an instant, it completely merged with the entire ancient city and became a part of the demon city. The demon sacrificial altar has been refined. It's time to refine the heroic spirit tablet. Indra said expressionlessly. His eyes swept over the demon god's side. In his voice, that cold, killing intent could be clearly felt by anyone. Sheer, lead the demons and enter the ancient city. Indra listened to the tragic drumbeats, which were like hundreds of millions of terrifying dragon roars. A large number of demons were beating the war drums in a frenzy. From the drums, demonic dragons rushed out endlessly and gathered in the void. In front of him, there were already thousands of demonic dragons emerging. The vast dragons might directly press the surrounding space until it was constantly distorted. Although one strike could directly destroy billions of demon beasts, the demon gods were nothing compared to the demon gods. However, these demonic beasts were merely cannon fodder to the demon god clan. No matter how many of them died, they would not feel the slightest bit of heartache. It was already a great honor for them to be able to stop the Shurtion for a while. They were accumulating their strength to destroy the demon city in one fell swoop. On the Abyss Battle Island, the princess was still watching with interest. She had no intention of interfering, which was very strange. D. Shurtion took a deep breath. The demon city under him shook violently. The countless white clouds around the ancient city changed strangely and gathered together to form a huge stairway that extended from the ancient city to Chenxi. The stairway to heaven led him to the front of the southern heaven gate. Uncle, quickly let the other demon clans climb up the heaven stairway. The current war is no longer something they can intervene in. If they stay on the battlefield, even if they are in the demon realm, they will be in danger of dying at any time. If they are slightly affected, they will immediately die on the spot. Now, the safest place is my husband's demon city. When she saw the thousands of demons' city suppressing the four directions and the vast power that killed the demonic beasts in one fell swoop, the excitement and pride in her heart was simply indescribable. When she saw Sakura descending the sky stairway, how could she not know that he was afraid that the following battle would harm the remaining demons? In the entire demon realm, the safest place was the ancient city. Gord Luzy's eyes were deep and flickering. His eyes revealed an unprecedented excitement. The ancient city in front of him had given him a huge shock. He thought to himself, is this really the ancient city of the demon realm? However, at this moment, there was no choice at all. The entire demon realm was being ravaged by the terrifying power. Everywhere, the earth was collapsing. If the battle continued, the entire demon realm would be in danger of completely collapsing. Let's go, all of us, into the ancient city. With a shout, the demons agreed. Immediately, the demons carried their unconscious companions and rushed up the stairway. Once they reached the stairway, they were instantly transported to the southern heaven gate. After passing through the gate, they naturally entered the ancient city. Even the Rock Demon King and the others were unwilling to be left behind. Looking at the endless stream of demons entering the ancient city, Sakura secretly nodded his head. Once the demons entered the city, he no longer had any worries. Even if the entire demon realm was shattered, with the power of the ancient city, it was enough to protect all the demons in the city and not suffer any harm. At most, he could directly pass through the void and leave the demon realm. Now that he had nothing to worry about, he could truly give it his all. Roar, roar, roar. Just as Deshurtion led all the demons into the city, the terrifying sound of the demonic drum finally stopped. However, in the void, a domineering dragon roar instantly sounded. Boom, boom, boom. Up in the void, terrifying black demonic dragons danced their bodies in a frenzy, shattering the space around them, turning the surroundings into a scene of doomsday. Demonic dragons, so many demonic dragons. There were a total of 9,999 of them. Demonic dragon formation. The remaining 10 sky demon kings looked at each other and roared at the same time. Suddenly, the demonic dragons in the sky seemed to have received some kind of order and quickly moved. In an instant, they spread to every corner of the void and covered a large area of the void. Boundless demonic chi covered the sky. If one looked closely, they seemed to be scattered in a mysterious pattern. Boom, boom, boom. Crack! The dragons roared. Suddenly, endless black demonic clouds appeared out of nowhere in the void and quickly spread in all directions. Pitch-black lightning flashed crazily. The bolts were extremely sharp and seemed to be able to split the void. One could see cracks in the void under the lightning. It was extremely terrifying. The black demonic clouds expanded at an unbelievable speed. It was like the most terrifying demon in the world. It covered the sky and covered the demon city that stood in the clouds. Almost instantly, it covered the sky above the ancient city. The black demonic clouds brought about an extremely oppressive aura. It filled the entire demon realm. Call the wind and summon the rain. Demonic dragon destroys the world. Demonic clouds shrouded the world. It was not just the fiendish demon battlefield, but the entire underground world, covering every inch of space. The entire world instantly plunged into darkness. At this moment, countless terrifying dragon roars merged into a roar filled with the aura of death in the demonic clouds. Woo woo woo. From the demonic clouds, waves of black demonic wind blew down. In the air, there was a terrifying roar. This demonic wind could be seen with the naked eye. Coincidentally, there was a huge mountain in front of the demonic wind. However, The demonic wind did not evade and directly rushed through it. Moreover, it was as if the mountain did not exist at all. The demonic wind passed through it and continued to spread in all directions. Crash! The huge mountain that had stood for tens of thousands of years suddenly collapsed and turned into powder in an instant. It turned into countless powders and scattered in all directions. A huge mountain was easily annihilated. 9 Underworld demonic wind. In the void outside the realm, a cry of surprise was heard. It was directly transmitted to the demon realm. Deshertion raised his head and looked at the void. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. He had long known that there would be countless pairs of eyes spying in the dark. Oomph. So what if they're spying? Today is destined to be the day when the demon city will shock the heavens. The target of this shock is none other than you guys who can't see the light. Deshertion snorted in his heart. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. I support the author. I support the original reading. Chapter 613. Third update complete. Requesting monthly votes. Along with the 9 Underworld demonic wind, pitch-black demonic rain began to fall from the sky. It streaked across the sky and landed on the ground. Immediately, strange sizzling sounds came from the hard ground of the fiendish demon battlefield. The raindrops penetrated the ground, creating terrifying holes in the ground. It directly corroded the ground. When the raindrops landed on the vegetation withered on the spot, instantly turning into a wisp of black smoke and dissipating. Moreover, as the 9 Underworld demonic wind became more and more intense, the demonic rain in the sky instantly became denser. In the blink of an eye, it almost covered the sky and earth. The sky and earth were completely connected by the demonic rain and poured down. However, when the demonic rain fell, the entire ground instantly began to corrode violently. The ground was disappearing at a speed visible to the naked eye. It kept disappearing like snowflakes in the summer that saw the sun. That scene was indescribably frightening. Outside the realm, countless experts sucked in a breath of cold air at the same time and exclaimed in shock, 3 lights demonic water. This is the 3 lights demonic rain. Heavens, this thing can corrode everything. Any living being touched by it will immediately fester and be corroded by the demonic water. Their divine soul will be destroyed. 9 Underworld demonic wind and 3 lights demonic rain. The combination of these 2 terrifying things can probably turn the entire fiendish demon realm into a wasteland in an instant. The demonic wind could blow away everything, and even the divine soul could be blown away in an instant. Terrifying, too terrifying. Is this the demonic dragon world-destroying array that the demonic god continent used in the ancient times? Legend has it that the demonic god continent used the world-destroying array in the ancient times. It once used 9 billion demonic dragons to set up the array at the same time. A world-destroying storm caused the deaths of billions of living beings. The entire source continent was severely damaged. I never thought that I would be able to witness such a supreme demonic array with my own eyes. In the void, it was like a bazaar. Many consciousnesses were frantically discussing and exclaiming in disbelief. However, their eyes did not blink at all, afraid that they would miss even a moment of the scene. Such a supreme demonic array was not something that could be seen easily. To be able to witness it with one's own eyes was also a supreme opportunity. Perhaps one could gain some incredible enlightenment from it. Furthermore, this was the beginning of the most intense battle between the demon gods and the demon clan. How could he miss this opportunity so easily? Especially when Deshertion's demon city appeared, it attracted even more attention. Oomph, what unparalleled divine city. How can it compare to the divine weapons of our 10 great immortal sects? Let him and the demon god fight until both sides are injured. At that time, we will let the heavens see who is the real supreme divine weapon. That's right. A rundown city wants to suppress the heavens? What a fool's dream. From an unknown place, he saw the scene in the demon realm and said disdainfully. It seemed that the experts of the 10 great immortal sects were having a conversation. Crack! Pitch-black thunderbolts roared violently, one after another, cutting through the void, completely destroying the space, exuding a terrifying power. The vast demonic power completely suppressed the entire demon world. Furthermore, the majority of the oppressive might instantly press down on the thousand-demon city. The pressure was so great that even the void started to collapse. This lightning should be the most terrifying apocalyptic demon lightning of the apocalyptic demon formation. It is said that this demon lightning has the power to return heaven and earth to chaos and destroy the world. Boom! 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 The heavens and earth were dark. Violent demonic winds and demonic rain swept madly towards the thousand-demon city. In the dark demonic clouds, countless black thunderbolts descended violently, directly bombarding the thousand-demon city. This was to completely destroy the thousand-demon city. In an instant, hundreds of millions of thunderbolts, countless whirlwinds, and overwhelming demonic rain vaguely surrounded the thousand-demon city, completely under the attack. There was no blind spot. No power could stop this terrifying apocalyptic storm. If one was really sucked in, even a supreme treasure would be destroyed in an instant. Boom! The huge thousand-demon city shook violently, causing the surrounding void to vibrate violently. A vast aura exuded from the ancient city. Outside the ancient city, countless white clouds instantly gathered, blocking the city outside. At the same time, layers of strange thunderclouds appeared in the sky. Below the ancient city, layers of underground world also appeared. Deshirtian's expression did not change at all. Without any expression, he shouted coldly, "9 heavens, 10 earths, God, slaying demon, annihilating seal, heavenly cycle of stars." He shouted again. Suddenly, the huge, starry demon sealing tombstone that stood in the ancient city shook violently. The vast power of the stars was instantly released from the tombstone. 365 stars appeared on the tombstone and instantly flew out from the tombstone. They quickly hung above the ancient city and rapidly expanded into bright stars. Endless divine light erupted from the starry demon sealing tombstone. Under the activation of Deshirtian's ancient city's power, the ancient tombstone that had been silent for an unknown number of years completely released the endless power that had annihilated countless demon gods in ancient times. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Across the demon realm, in the ancient star space, although it was still daytime on the entire land of origin, the stars in the starry sky lit up one after another, bursting with bright starlight. They turned into rays of starlight that crossed countless voids and appeared in the demon realm, landing among the 365 stars. Rumble! The 365 stars trembled violently and released endless light. The vast power of the stars was released and instantly enveloped the entire ancient city. The surrounding scenery suddenly changed and vaguely seemed to be in a star space. Countless stars were orbiting in an inconceivably profound and mysterious way. An unimaginable power was released. Deshirtian instantly activated the 2 killing moves in the demon ancient city, the starry demon sealing tombstone, and the 9 heavens and 10 earths God slaying demon annihilating seal. In an instant, the outside of the ancient city turned into a world of stars. The ancient city was wrapped in countless stars, and above it, 9 layers of thunderclouds appeared. Almost instantly, the mighty force that burst forth caused the entire world to tremble violently. Boom! 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 The 9 underworld demonic wind blew over and first collided with the heavenly cycle stellar formation. The demonic wind blew into the star space, and countless stars were instantly annihilated in the demonic wind, turning into dust. However, at the same time, countless stars were born in an instant. The power of thousands of stars turned into starry blades that bombarded the demonic wind. Countless rays of starlight penetrated the demonic wind and enveloped it, completely annihilating it. The demonic wind was endless, and the power of the stars was inexhaustible. It blocked the demonic wind in the star space and could not even get close to the demon city. However, endless demonic rain attacked again. However, the power of the stars almost permeated the entire star space. As soon as the demonic rain entered, it collided with the power of the stars in the blink of an eye. Crack! The pitch-black demonic thunder tore through the space and bombarded the city. It collided with the stars, and the stars were immediately shattered by the demonic thunder of annihilation. The demonic thunder of annihilation continued to bombard the ancient city. However, before it could touch the ancient city, it first collided with the 9 layers of thunderclouds. Within the thunderclouds, tens of thousands of lightning bolts interweaved together. At every moment, there was a sea of lightning being annihilated. The demonic thunder of annihilation rushed into the thunderclouds. Countless divine thunderbolts in the thunderclouds immediately attacked the demonic thunder of annihilation as if they had met their nemesis. In order for the demonic thunder of annihilation to reach the thunderclouds, it first had to pass through the heavenly cycle stellar formation. After being worn down by the power of the stars, it then entered the thunderclouds and collided with countless divine thunderbolts. Countless roars were heard in the thunderclouds. The demonic thunder of annihilation had the power to destroy the world. However, it could only penetrate 2 layers of thunderclouds before it was completely annihilated. At the same time, the thunderclouds devoured the demonic thunder. Faintly, the thundercloud's color became deeper. This meant that the seal had become more powerful. The demon city had become so powerful that even the demonic dragon of annihilation formation could not do anything to it. How is this possible? The demonic dragon of annihilation formation has the power to destroy the world. How can it not damage the ancient city? This is the 9 underworld demonic wind, triple brilliance demonic water, and demonic thunder of annihilation. Each of them can destroy the world. Impossible. The great formation laid out by 9,999 demonic dragons might not even be able to block it. How could they not be able to destroy that damned ancient city if they wanted to avoid it? Seeing that the demonic dragon of annihilation formation could not destroy the ancient city, the demon gods on the Abyss War Island were in an uproar. Each of them widened their eyes and could not believe what they were seeing. It's actually the heavenly cycle stellar formation, the 9 heavens, 10 earths god, slaying demon annihilation formation. TSK, TSK. This ancient city is comparable to the strongest tortoise shell. However, it seems that the heavenly cycle stellar formation is not complete. Its control is too rigid. It can't display its full power at all. However, this is already extremely terrifying. With the appearance of the ancient city, I'm afraid that the demon race will really have a turning point, an opportunity to rise up. Sakura stood in the ancient city. Stars revolved around him and thunderclouds roared, making him look incomparably tall. Looking up at the sky, he saw demonic dragons shuttling back and forth in the demonic clouds, letting out roars. The demonic wind and demonic rain outside were becoming more and more terrifying under their control. It was so dark that he could not see anything clearly. Today I, Dishurtion, will represent the entire demon race and let out the first cry to the myriad of worlds. Dishurtion's deep voice began to spread in all directions in an instant, penetrating the void and spreading across the entire demon world. Although it was not loud, it reached everyone's ears. His voice carried an invisible majesty. The demon race shall not be humiliated. The last 6 words carried a terrifying power, as if it was attracting the ancient spirits of the demon race. In the void, countless terrifying heavenly thunders exploded. Blood Kill Guards, your subordinate is here. Blood Kill Guards, listen to my command. Kill the sky demon dragons on behalf of I. Dishurtion calmly said. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. I support the author, and I support the original readers. Chapter 614. The Bloodkill Guard obeys the Emperor's order. The Bloodkill Guard's cold voice echoed in the ancient city. Boom, 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 boom. The tall terracotta warriors that had been standing in the ancient city like motionless statues suddenly emitted a terrifying, murderous aura. Countless mystical patterns appeared on the crystal-like terracotta warriors. Countless blood patterns emerged from the patterns and instantly covered the entire body of the terracotta warriors. They turned into blood terracotta warriors. The aura that was emitted from the blood terracotta warriors drove the surrounding airflow and pushed the demons that were close to them away at a rapid speed. They were pushed hundreds of feet away. That kind of power made most of the demon race unable to resist at all. They only had time to let out a cry of surprise. No one expected that these terracotta warriors that stood in the ancient city like works of art would suddenly burst out with such a domineering and shocking power. Why did these terracotta warriors suddenly come to life? Aren't these sculptures placed here? So powerful, so powerful. This power is even stronger than the demon saint. Were these terracotta warriors? Are they all subordinates of the demon king? The demons that originally belonged to the demon realm entered the demon city for the first time. Moreover, it was the first time they saw the terracotta warriors and the Bloodkill Guards. Who would have thought that the original statues would suddenly become the most powerful existence in the world? Every awakened Bloodkill Guard had a powerful aura that was not inferior to the demon saint. Moreover, it was faintly superior. For a moment, they were so shocked that even their eyeballs were about to fall out. It's the Bloodkill Guards. It's His Majesty's Bloodkill Guards. I heard from Lord Fox that each of these Bloodkill Guards has a combat strength stronger than the demon saint. If they are Bloodkill generals, they could be compared to heaven demons. That's great. With the appearance of the Bloodkill Guards, they will definitely be able to kill those Boolsh *T demons. 18 Bloodkill generals and 100,000 Bloodkill Guards. Today, our demon city will make all the worlds in the universe tremble. The demon clan, who originally belonged to the demon city, showed an incomparably joyful expression on their faces. They began to shout excitedly one after another. After accumulating for countless years, they would shock the heavens and the heavens today. The demon race had been waiting for this day to come. They had been waiting for too long. I didn't expect D. Shurtion to have such terrifying power. Whether it was the heavenly demons like Gordseed or Demon King Rock's group, they were all shocked. No one could have imagined that there would be such an inconceivably large army in this ancient city. The Dream Demon King's deep eyes were filled with a profound realization as he muttered to himself. So, this is the 1,000-demon city that you have always wanted to build. So, back when you were in the Southern Barbarian lands, you had already been secretly accumulating strength to build it, waiting for today to shock the world with a single brilliant feat, suppressing the heavens. Such great courage, as expected of a natural-born king. He had already made up his mind, and now he was even more determined. Bang, bang, bang. All the blood-killing guards opened their previously closed eyes at the same time. Their eyes were all blood-red, like the most perfect crystals. On each of their backs was a blood-red battle saber that looked like a tiger's soul. They stepped forward and began to gather in the direction of the southern heavenly gate. 100,000 blood-killing guards gathered in various positions in the city. The steady footsteps sounded like they were stepping on people's hearts. With a strong deterrent force, they quickly gathered in front of the southern heavenly gate. 100,000 blood-killing guards coldly and sternly lined up in neat rows. Their gazes swept across the surroundings. In front, 10 blood-killing generals stood proudly. Among the 18 blood-killing generals, 8 of them guarded the 4 heavenly gates. The rest of them were all gathered here. Clang! A slender battle saber was unsheathed. In front, a blood-killing general said sternly, His Majesty has ordered that the target is to kill kill him without mercy. Kill, kill, kill. 100,000 blood-killing guards pulled out their battle sabers at the same time. The battle sabers were made of divine crystals. They were extremely tough and sharp. Together with them, there was nothing they could not overcome. In their minds, there was only Tian's order and their killing instinct. They responded coldly and spat out the word kill 3 times. With every roar, they took a step forward. The murderous aura on their bodies was no longer concealed. It burst out of their bodies and directly turned into the most terrifying aura, sweeping across the surroundings. Above their heads, a terrifying blood-colored cloud gathered. An aura of death was emitted from the blood-colored cloud. It was enough to shock the entire world. Kill, kill, kill. The cold roar sounded again. Under the leadership of the 10 blood-killing generals, 100,000 blood-killing guards stepped out of Demon City. Their bodies seemed to be made of blood crystals, giving each of them an extremely domineering body. They stepped in the void as if they were stepping on flat ground. However, the void under their feet collapsed. It turned into countless violent forces that burst out and blasted on the blood-killing guards. However, it did not even leave a trace on their bodies. Die! The blood-killing general directly stepped out of the range of the 9 heavens and 10 earths god, slaying demon, slaying seal, and massive heavenly cycle-stellar formation. He looked up and saw the dark demonic clouds above his head. His eyes shot out a blood-colored light that seemed to be solid and directly pierced into the demonic clouds. Roar! A demonic dragon just happened to come out of the demonic clouds and wanted to stir up the wind and rain. However, as soon as the dragon head came out of the demonic clouds, it immediately met the 2 blood-colored lights that shot out from the blood-killing general's eyes. The demonic dragon let out a mournful dragon roar, and its entire head was pierced through on the spot. It exploded into pieces with a loud bang. It lost its head. The demonic dragon fell from the demonic clouds on the spot. The strange thing was that the demonic dragon actually spat out a large amount of demonic dragon blood. It fell directly into the battlefield. Bang! The demonic dragon's body, which was thousands of feet long, slammed heavily on the ground, causing the ground to shake violently as if a terrible earthquake had suddenly occurred. The demonic dragon, summoned from the demonic drum, was not illusory, but had flesh and blood. When it was summoned, it strangely grew flesh and blood. This demonic device was simply unbelievably powerful. However, the blood-killing general was even more terrifying. With just a glance, he killed the demonic dragon. Hiss! In the void, it was unknown how many people were sucking in cold breaths. What exactly is this blood-colored statue? It's so terrifying. What an amazing killing power. With just a glance, it actually killed a demonic dragon on the spot. Terrifying, too terrifying. This blood figurine is even more terrifying than a heavenly demon. I can feel the aura of death from it. What exactly is this thing? A puppet? It's a different kind of life form. This killing aura is so familiar. Why is it so similar to the soldier soul in the fallen god abyss? Bang, bang, bang. At the same time, 100,000 blood-killing guards follow behind. They walked out of the massive heavenly cycle stellar formation and rushed directly into the demonic clouds. The 9 nether demonic wind and 3 light demonic rain from the demonic clouds fell on their bodies. The demonic wind and demonic rain could not damage their tough bodies at all. They could not cause any damage to the blood-killing guards. Crack! Destructive demonic thunderbolts bombarded with a terrifying destructive power that could destroy heaven and earth. Kill! However, the blood-killing guards did not even have the slightest change in their expressions. They just coldly waved the war sabers in their hands, infusing them with endless killing power, and slashed at the demonic thunderbolts. When the sabers collided with the demonic thunderbolts, they ferociously dispersed the demonic thunderbolts. The blood-killing guards did not suffer any damage after being bombarded by the demonic thunderbolts. It was simply too ferocious. Even a heavenly demon might not dare to get close to the demonic thunderbolts. 100,000 blood-killing guards rushed into the demonic clouds. Without a trace of emotion, they shuttled through the demonic clouds in search of the demonic dragons. Those demonic dragons were like dogs and chickens in front of the blood-killing guards. They were instantly slaughtered. Roar, roar, roar. Mournful dragon roars rang out one after another. In the entire sky, huge demonic dragons fell from the demonic clouds one after another. Demonic blood continued to sprinkle down. The sounds of battle cries tore through the heavens. The demonic clouds that shrouded the void were cut into countless pieces and constantly dispersed. The demonic wind that blew between heaven and earth strangely began to dissipate. Rumble. Suddenly, there was a loud noise in the void. The entire demonic clouds were destroyed. 9,999 demonic dragons fell at the same time. The demonic dragon Armageddon formation collapsed on the spot. The demonic clouds and the void dissipated, and rays of light filled heaven and earth. In the void, one could see 10 blood-killing guards leading 100,000 blood-killing guards standing in the sky. Their bodies were unusually cold. They were incomparably austere. Between heaven and earth, endless killing intent crazily surged into their bodies. Killing intent was the best nourishment in heaven and earth. The more they devoured, the more their strength would increase. They were terrifying beings that were born from slaughter. Interesting. They can actually break through the demonic dragon Armageddon formation. The first 10 are comparable to Sky Demon, and the 100,000 behind are comparable to Demon Emperors. Moreover, they are alive. Tion actually has such a foundation. It seems that the news of the decline of the demon clan is not accurate. The princess, sitting on the battle island, looked meaningfully at the 100,000 blood-kill guards standing in the air with murderous intent. She could feel the terrifying killing intent in their bodies that could destroy heaven and earth. She muttered to herself, "Balin, activate the battle island and smash it into this princess." This abyss battle island is made of abyss-cold iron from the endless abyss and has countless restrictions. It is a weapon of war. Let's see if the ancient city or the battle island is more powerful. The princess spat out these words with great interest. "Yes, princess." The 10 celestial demons roared, and the 100,000 eight-armed demonic gods on the island roared as well, pouring their power into the battle island. Immediately, the entire battle island rumbled violently, and waves of pitch-black light shone out. It faintly emitted an ancient and desolate aura. It was as if an ancient demon god was awakening. Interesting. The starlight demonic bow that the princess was playing with suddenly glowed with brilliant starlight. It began to expand in an instant. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 616. First update received. Urgent need for monthly tickets. This ancient city is not bad. I wonder if it can withstand an arrow from my plenilune constellation bow. The elven princess looked at the demon city in the air with great interest. She seemed to be suddenly interested. The plenilune constellation bow in her hand suddenly began to expand and instantly turned into a gorgeous magic bow. On the demonic bow, there were signs of stars. Vaguely, there was even a pitch-black demonic moon that was surrounded by stars. It seemed to naturally exude an ancient aura. Almost all the time, the magic bow was constantly gathering the power of the stars and devouring it. Fine. It's rare that I'm interested in coming here. If I don't have some fun and go back like this, it'll be too boring. Today, I'll let this ancient magic weapon of mine show some power here. Otherwise, if the news of you slaughtering hundreds of millions of magic beasts and breaking my magic dragon world annihilation formation gets out, won't the demon god continent's reputation be tarnished? The elven princess muttered to herself indifferently. She would not take ordinary things to heart. The war in front of her did not seem to arouse her interest at all. However, she still wanted to save some face. She looked at the demon city. She raised the plenilune constellation bow and stretched out her snow-white hand. With a natural charm, she placed it directly on the bowstring and gently pulled the magic bow. There was no long arrow on the bowstring. What she pulled was just an empty bowstring. However, when she pulled the bowstring, the infinite vitality between heaven and earth instantly gathered toward the magic bow and was converted into pure power of the stars by the magic bow. It gathered together. Strangely, it formed a star arrow that seemed to be condensed from countless stars that were as small as pearls. Looking at the twinkling starlight on the star arrow, it faintly emitted endless magic brilliance. On it, countless mysterious magic patterns were constantly flashing. It made this star arrow look as if it was real. The sharp tip of the arrowhead naturally revealed a sharp glint. Swoosh! The demonic bow was drawn to a full moon. Without any hesitation, it was aimed at the towering figure of Chertion, who was standing in the middle of the ancient city. A sharp light pierced through the air. She released her hand, and the bowstring let out an intense sound. The star arrow that was emitting black light was like a meteor chasing after the moon, leaving behind a trail of bright starlight. Star armor piercing arrow. This arrow was aimed at Chertion. That frightening sharpness almost instantly stimulated Chertion. His mind suddenly started to beat wildly. He only felt that the skin around his heart had countless goosebumps without any warning. He could not help but reflexively look forward. A shocking starlight appeared in his eyes. It was leaving the bowstring of the magic bow and breaking through the air. The tip of the arrow was aimed at his heart. Oomph. You want to kill I? Break the massive heavenly cycle stellar formation and the ancient city's restriction first. Chertion's pupils suddenly contracted violently. A touch of coldness appeared in his heart. An invisible anger surged into his mind. A feeling of being offended surged into his heart. An emperor could not be humiliated so easily. If you want to shoot me, I'll kill you first. Sakra's tiger-like eyes flashed and revealed a supreme majesty. It was as if there was a ball of fire throbbing in his heart. When he saw that meteor-like arrow piercing through the sky towards him, he unrestrainedly launched a counterattack. He roared. He did not intend to stay in the air and wait for the star arrow to kill him. Whoever dares to provoke me today, I'll kill you. Rumble. With a thought, Chertion's body had completely merged with the entire demon city. His legs, which were stepping on the ancient city, were completely merged with the ground. It was as if they were directly grown out of the ancient city. He had merged his primordial spirit with the ancient city from the very beginning. The ancient city was like a clone. When he used it, it was as easy as waving his arm. However, to control such a powerful ancient city, it was an immeasurable burden to his primordial spirit and willpower. Without extraordinary willpower, even the ancient city could not be controlled. This was like a huge life source magic treasure. Whether or not one could unleash its power depended on whether one had that ability. Every time Chertion controlled the ancient city to attack, he would need to consume a huge amount of true power. Heaven Origin Pill. Turn I into innate essence chi. Controlling the ancient city, overlooking the heavens. I'll kill you. Chertion's body swallowed 1,000,000 Heaven Origin Pills, turning them into a huge amount of essence chi and pouring it into the demon city. It was like the most barbaric demon in the world, crazily colliding with the star arrow. Bang! Outside the demon city, there was the protection of the stars. 365 stars formed a starry sky. The 9 heavens, 10 earth god, slaying demon exterminating seal, protected the ancient city. This collision was like an ancient giant's anger. It rushed over fiercely, and the surrounding void, the violent power caused the heaven and earth to completely collapse. The void shook. With a loud boom, it collided with the star arrow. That star arrow was extremely sharp and domineering. It was the supreme archery skill of the elf clan, the god-slaying meteor arrow. Legend had it that the god-slaying meteor arrow had a total of 9 arrows. Each arrow had an invincible and boundless power. This arrow was one of them, the star armor-piercing arrow. The word armor-piercing represented the boundless sharpness of the arrow. No matter how tough the armor was or how strong the defense was, under this arrow, it would be completely penetrated and broken apart. It was unstoppable. It was said that when the god-slaying meteor arrow was cultivated to the highest level, it could shoot down stars, kill unparalleled gods and demons, and shoot down the sun and moon with a raise of the hand. The sharpness was so strong that even unparalleled experts would fall in front of this unparalleled archery skill. With this collision of the ancient city, the massive heavenly cycle-stellar array also followed suit. The star arrow carried endless starlight and contained a violent demonic aura. The arrow directly shot into the star space formed by the massive heavenly cycle-stellar array. Bang, bang, bang. The star arrow was unimaginably sharp. Stars blocked in front of the arrow, but they couldn't stop it at all. The arrow instantly pierced through the stars. Immediately, one could see that the stars were pierced through, leaving a terrifying hole in the stars from the front to the back. The stars were annihilated inch by inch. They quickly collapsed. Not only was the light of the stars on the arrow not depleted, but it became even more dazzling and sharp. In an instant, it pierced through hundreds of stars in succession. It directly pierced through the entire small star space. It appeared in front of the 9 heavens and 10 earths god, slaying demon, annihilating seal. It pierced through layers of seals in succession. The arrow landed on the southern heavenly gate. Rumble. It was impossible to estimate how powerful the star armor-piercing arrow was. The arrow contained a supreme will that could break through and penetrate everything. With this kind of will, if there was light, there would be light between heaven and earth. If it wanted to break through and penetrate everything, it could penetrate anything in front of it. It was simply unimaginably powerful. Oh no, this arrow contains supreme will. It's a peerless archery skill. Quickly activate the southern heavenly gate's immortal power and seal power to block it. Ming roared loudly. Only he knew how terrifying such a peerless skill that contained supreme will was. These were all peerless skills. Each peerless skill didn't only contain its power, but also the supreme will contained in the battle skill. Only with the will in the peerless skill could one possess the terrifying power to change the world and make the sun and moon fall. This kind of will could only be obtained when one reached the heaven monster level. For others who didn't comprehend this kind of will, even if they had peerless skills, they wouldn't be able to unleash the true power of the skill. At most, they would only be able to unleash 30% of the skill's power. However, this arrow, contained an unparalleled will. The will was penetrate, break through armor, break through everything in front of it. Even gods would be pierced through. The supreme divine seal still couldn't erase the sharpness of the star arrow. However, the starlight on the arrow dimmed significantly, but it still contained supreme will as the arrow hit the southern heavenly gate. Rumble. The southern heavenly gate was made by imitating the innate spiritual treasure, the 4 heavenly gate. It consumed countless natural treasures and various rare treasures. There were 2 types of divine stones, the immortal stone and the sealing stone. It could make the ancient city eternal. It was extremely tough. As soon as the star arrow hit the southern heavenly gate, beams of immortal light and sealing light instantly blazed on the southern heavenly gate. They turned into the toughest barrier in front of the arrow. Break through armor. Break through armor. There was a boundless will roaring crazily in the arrow. The tiny stars that formed the body of the arrow suddenly exploded. Every time a star exploded, the arrow would receive an unimaginable amount of power, pushing the arrow forward and piercing through everything. Bang! Bang! 108 stars formed a star arrow. At this moment, the stars that formed the arrow exploded one after another. Every time a star exploded, the power of the arrow would be pushed to a higher level. 36 stars exploded in a row. The entire body of the arrow became incomparably bright, as if a real star had fallen from the sky. The entire demon city couldn't help but shake violently at this moment. It caused the surrounding void to shake, shattering thousands of spaces. The power of eternity and the power of seals were completely penetrated by this frightening willpower. Crack! The star arrow pierced through the southern heavenly gate. However, the light on the arrow dimmed even more, but its power was enough to break the heavens and earth. The tip of the arrow shot straight toward D. Shirtian's heart. Clang! However, just as the star arrow was about to pierce through his heart, D. Shirtian's eyes shone brightly. He roared and twisted his wrist. The tiger's soul was placed horizontally in front of his heart at an unbelievable angle. The boundless royal true force in his body surged into the saber, releasing a shocking amount of power. The golden saber radiance fluctuated violently, showing ripples like fish bones. The star arrow shot toward the tiger's soul. There was a terrifying roar. D. Shirtian felt as if a terrifying mountain had suddenly crashed into him. His entire body seemed to have been struck by lightning. All the stars on the arrow exploded, and countless stars instantly pierced into his demon body. D. Shirtian let out a muffled groan. His black hair danced wildly behind him. His eyes were filled with madness as he roared, "Smash you to death." To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 617. The second update has been delivered. Continue to work on the third update. It's the end of the month. Every ray of starlight was sharper than a needle. The star armor-piercing arrow was blocked by Tiger Soul. With Tiger Soul's body as an Earth-ranked demon soldier, it blocked the star arrow, which was mostly consumed by the Heaven's Gate. It did not allow the arrow to pierce through the heart. One had to know that the heart was the most important part of a living creature. Once it was pierced, the consequences would be unimaginable. Moreover, D. Shirtian's heart contained the demon mansion, which was the foundation of his life. If the demon mansion was damaged, it would cause irreparable damage. It might even affect his future breakthrough to the unparalleled demon god realm. However, at the last moment of the explosion, the starlight also had infinite power. Thousands of rays directly pierced into D. Shirtian's body. In front of the starlight, thousands of terrifying holes were pierced through the powerful demon body. Golden blood spurted out. Blood splattered everywhere. Wood spirit orb. Immortality. D. Shirtian shouted coldly in his heart. The seven sins demonic zither in his body immediately released wisps of green light. It quickly rushed out of the demon mansion and poured into every inch of his flesh and blood. It wrapped the destructive power of the stars and sent it into the demon refining cauldron. It was refined by the power of the demon refining cauldron. At the same time, the origin power with infinite vitality poured into his body, causing the demon body to quickly heal. His body was filled with a huge amount of vitality. Suddenly, the wounds on his body were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it was completely healed. It was as good as new. However, this also completely ignited the anger in D. Shirtian's heart. Crash! 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 I'll crash you to death. All of a sudden, the colossus that was the myriad demon city charged straight towards the abyss battle island. In the demon city, the stellar seal tombstone received the power of the stars. Countless pillars of starlight fell from the ancient star space and instantly fell on the ancient city, causing the ancient city to emit infinite starlight. Around the ancient city, stars condensed one after another. It turned into the first divine light, which was the first technique of the demon city, starlight. Surrounding the entire ancient city, this divine light was like a long river formed by countless stars. There were countless stars in it. It was extremely beautiful. Rumble. With boundless fury, D. Shirtian piloted the ancient city and solidly crashed into the huge abyssal battle island hovering in the void. The terrifying roar silenced the entire demon realm in an instant. It was as if hundreds of millions of tons of explosives had exploded at the same time. When they collided, the shock waves that were produced exploded on the spot. Anything that stood in its way would be crushed into pieces. The Abyss Battle Island was a powerful weapon of the demon god race. It was built with countless precious materials and covered with countless seals. Right now, the 100,000 demon gods on the island were pouring their power into the island, causing it to shake violently. Endless demon chi spewed out, forming an abyss light outside the island. Like a long river, they surrounded the island and gathered together. Countless abyssal demon gods roared crazily inside. A vast amount of magic power appeared. The two incredible treasures collided with each other. First, the light of the abyss and the starlight collided violently. In the light of the abyss, countless demons roared and rushed out, exploding with terrifying power. In the light of the starlight, billions of stars smashed out crazily. The devil and the star collided. Countless devils and stars were annihilated continuously. A destructive storm erupted directly. The surrounding was rendered into a chaotic area, with countless terrifying storms raging. Rumble. Ah, ah, ah. The demon city was incomparably ferocious. Countless stars from the ancient star space continuously poured in, causing the ancient city to erupt with endless divine light. It collided violently with the abyssal battle island. The ancient city shook violently, letting out a terrifying roar. However, the four heavenly gates were still standing tall like mountains, majestic and unmoving. The ferocious collision poured down on the abyssal battle island. Many eight-armed demon gods could not bear the tyrannical power that erupted from the ancient city and let out shrill cries. The entire body of the demon god collapsed, and this collapse was accompanied by the demon god's soul. Thousands of demon gods suddenly fell. Boom, boom, boom. His body exploded into powder. At the same time, Deshurtion also groaned at the same time. A trace of golden blood flowed down from the corner of his mouth. Obviously, the powerful impact of this collision caused considerable damage to his body. Sakura didn't evade at all. His black hair fluttered wildly behind his back, making him look like an ancient demon god. His eyes revealed a dense look of insanity as he coldly snorted. Eternal divine thunder, blast open this lousy island for this emperor. Quick, 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 prepare the eternal divine thunder and smash it all on the abyssal battle island. Damn it, use the divine thunder to blast them to death for me. Today, we will spread the name of the demon city. Smash, smash this battle island into pieces. Within the 100 thunder-gathering towers, roars could be heard. Within each thunder-gathering tower, there were no less than 1,000 demons presiding over it. Now that they heard the order, they were all riled up. Bolts of eternal divine thunder were released rapidly. The entire thunder-gathering tower was filled with dazzling lightning, shuttling back and forth across the surface of the thunder-gathering tower. Rumble! The tower shook, and the eternal divine thunder burst out from the tower, madly smashing toward the abyssal battle island. Every one of them glowed with dazzling lightning. The eternal divine thunder contained the essence of eternity. Once it exploded within the range of the explosion, one's divine soul would be eroded and fall into a state of eternity. Even if the divine thunder hit the body, one would not feel it. It would directly fall into eternity. Moreover, its power was immense. Seeing the bolts of divine lightning smashing into the layer of light of the abyss, the countless devils inside immediately froze, as if they had seen something inconceivable. They didn't move at all, allowing the divine lightning to hit them. With a loud bang, thousands of lightning bolts enveloped a large number of devils. Countless demon gods were continuously annihilated by the lightning. Thousands of stars also came crashing down. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying sound covered the whole world. How dare you? The 10 sky demon glared at the same time and roared. Their 8 arms turned into countless afterimages, and all kinds of demon treasures crazily bombarded the eternal divine thunder and stars. They relied on their tyrannical strength to block most of the stars and divine thunder. But there were still many stars and divine thunder that smashed onto the battle island. Those who were hit by the stars did not even have a corpse left. Those who were hit by the eternal divine thunder collapsed their bodies, and their demon souls turned into countless fragments. Miserable screams sounded on the battle island. Bang! The demon city instantly erupted with boundless divine brilliance, and its whole body was covered in crystal light, bursting with astonishing power. It crashed into the battle island, and the battle island was forcefully thrown back. The surrounding abyssal light shook violently and showed signs of collapsing. Countless demon gods were annihilated in the collision. Rumble! The abyssal battle island violently retreated, and the void behind it was constantly annihilated. A destructive storm broke out, and countless earth, fire, water, and wind emerged. Countless demon gods were roaring. Lunatic D, quick, smash this battle island and sink it. Don't let that elf princess on the battle island attack again. I don't know which demon god's child came out randomly. Damn, that's the moon-gazing bow. Legend has it that it's one of the top 100 ancient demon treasures in the demon god continent. It's ranked 33rd. It was a demonic weapon refined by a peerless demonic god of the primordial demonic gods over 100,000 years. And that archery skill, damn, isn't that the supreme archery skill, god-killing meteor arrow? A peerless archery skill, too terrifying. In ancient times, the fairy saintess of the demon god continent held this demon bow and shot down 9 peerless powerhouses. A peerless powerhouse with an indestructible body and immortal soul. She was shot down just like that. From the looks of it, she can only use the first few arrows of the 9 god-killing arrows, but it's already very terrifying. I can't give her a chance. Smash! 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 Smash her to death! Dark roared crazily. He finally recognized the origin of the demon bow in the hands of the fairy princess. He was so shocked that even his dragon scales were about to stand up. Only those who had experienced the desperate battles of ancient times would know the true terror of this magic bow. It was a magic bow that could even shoot down unparalleled powerhouses who were immortal and had an almost endless lifespan. Smash! 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 D. Shirtion had personally experienced the terror of the god-killing arrow. It was just the first arrow, the star armor-piercing arrow. Even the gate of heaven couldn't block it. It also contained a supreme will. It was simply terrifying. How could he not know the current situation? A fierce and overbearing aura emerged in his heart. He couldn't let the princess shoot the second arrow. That archery skill is too terrifying. If you want to kill me, I'll smash you to death first. The Abyss War Island was instantly knocked back tens of thousands of feet away. In the middle of it was the most terrifying, chaotic storm, and even the space was constantly distorted. In this regard, D. Shirtion didn't hesitate at all. He controlled the ancient city and smashed it without hesitation. At this moment, D. Shirtion controlled the ancient city like a ferocious demon. Ferocious. Overbearing. A ferocious aura pervaded the ancient city. It seemed to emit an incomparably ferocious aura. I'm ferocious. I'm ruthless. Whoever blocks in front of me, I'll smash them to death. Even demon gods were the same. Smash, smash, smash. He created a ferocious name for himself. Boom, boom, boom. The ancient city went completely berserk. It didn't give the demon gods a chance to stabilize the war island and crazily smashed it. Immediately, the light of the abyss shook violently. Countless demons instantly recovered, and the war island once again endured an incomparably terrifying force. On the war island, there was a cracking sound, and a small crack appeared. This crack on the war island was incomparably terrifying. All demon gods, pour all your power into the war island. I don't believe that I can't destroy this damned city. Rumble, the 10 sky demon landed on the war island at the same time. They each stood on one side and poured their power into the war island. Instantly, With the power of the 10 Sky Demon, the entire War Island burst out with resplendent demon light. The War Island that was shaking violently suddenly stabilized. Huh. Interesting. I didn't expect to see such an interesting little demon in this place. Well, you can block my first arrow, but I don't know if you can block my second arrow. The elf princess smiled faintly. She raised a moon-gazing bow in her hand again. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chidian.com and read more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 618. Third update. This is not an explosion. It's just to make up for what I owe. The second arrow of the god-slaying aerolite arrow. Aerolite destruction arrow. Shao Chun drew the demonic bow, and countless strands of essence gathered at the bowstring. Using a strange method, they quickly condensed into a demonic arrow with a starry light. Inside the arrow, there were still 108 tiny stars that were condensed from it. Countless mysterious demonic seals shuttled back and forth in the arrow and merged with it. It made the entire arrow look like it had materialized. It contained a will of great destruction. Although the armor-piercing arrow and the destruction arrow were only different by one word, they represented two different wills. Similarly, their powers were fundamentally different. Even with the elven princess's cultivation base, she still didn't release the arrow instantly. Instead, pure demonic chi continuously poured into the star arrow from her body. Whoosh! A shrill sound of breaking the air rang out, only to see that the astral arrow once again broke through the air, aiming straight for Indra's heart as it shot out. Wherever it passed, the void was shattered. It rushed into the massive heavenly cycle-stellar array and shattered countless stars. It broke through the 9 heavens and 10 earths god-slaying and demon-slaying seal. It shuttled through layers of thunderclouds. Countless divine thunderbolts wore down the destructive power on the aerolite arrow. However, the aerolite destruction arrow was too overbearing. It was more than 10 times stronger than the first arrow. The Supreme will gave it an unstoppable power. It was about to shoot into the Southern Heaven Gate. The Southern Heaven Gate had the power of the Immortal Stone. The place where the arrow pierced through had automatically healed. Although the Heaven Gate was powerful, the 5 divine stones were not completely gathered. They could not unleash the Heaven Gate's supreme power. Otherwise, the aerolite arrow would not have been able to pierce through the Heaven Gate so easily. Unfortunately, it was just a replica. If it was the real 4 directions Heaven Gate, even a peerless expert would not be able to move it, let alone the Elven Princess. The aerolite arrow was about to collapse before it reached the Heaven Gate. General Bloodkiller, shatter this aerolite arrow for I. Deshurtian's pupils violently shrank. He controlled the ancient city and crazily rammed into the Abyss Battle Island. The collision between the 2 gigantic objects almost caused the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. The sun and moon lost their light, and the stars shook. Seeing that the Elven Princess shot another arrow at his heart, the fury in his heart raged again. Humiliation. This was an undisguised humiliation. Yet the other party had actually aimed it at his heart twice in a row, completely disregarding him. Such disdain instantly provoked him, and the golden blood in his body began to boil violently. Do you really think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my might? Anyone who dares to harm His Majesty will be killed without mercy. The 2 blood-killing generals standing in front of the Heaven's Gate suddenly opened their blood-red eyes. They instantly stared at the star arrow that was shuttling through the air like lightning, emitting a bright, murderous aura. One of them revealed a hint of anger in his eyes, and his body shook coldly. Suddenly, the tall body emitted bursts of blood-red light. In the blood-red light, it continued to expand. In the blink of an eye, it had expanded to a height of 10,000 feet. The blood figurine was their body, and the soldier soul was their divine soul. With the combination of the 2, they came to life. The weapon in each blood-killing general's hand was different. This blood-killing general held a blood-red iron hammer in his hand, which looked like a hammer used to forge iron. Simple and unadorned lines appeared on it. He opened his eyes angrily. He waved the war hammer in his hand, and endless killing power was poured into the war hammer. In the war hammer, endless blood-red light flickered. Bang! The aerolite destruction arrow was directly hit by the hammer. Suddenly, the terrifying will contained in the destruction arrow was stimulated. It was the power of great destruction. The bright aerolite arrow suddenly exploded with a loud bang. The terrifying power of great destruction shook the void, causing the surrounding space to shatter all of a sudden. At the same time, the entire aerolite arrow exploded and strangely turned into 108 small aerolite destruction arrows, which changed unpredictably. In an instant, all of them shot at the vital points around the blood-killing general's body. Ding, ding, ding. The aerolite destruction arrows shot at the blood-killing general's body, but there was no familiar sound of piercing flesh. Instead, there was a strange sound that sounded like iron being forged. How is this possible? The Tin Sky Demon could not help but exclaim in surprise. Their eyes almost popped out, and their faces were filled with disbelief. In front of the Heaven's Gate, 108 shattering arrows pierced into the general of Blood Massacre's body. However, these shattering arrows pierced into the general of Blood Massacre's body. Only the tip of the arrow pierced into the general of Blood Massacre's body. They did not break open the body that was made of upper-grade divine crystal. On the general's body, blood-red light flowed, and endless killing power rolled. Kill! Thousands of blood-red lights burst out, and the general's body shook. The destruction arrows that were pierced into his body were washed away by waves of overbearing killing power, and the destruction arrows were dispersed. All the aerolite arrows instantly collapsed into countless starlight and disappeared. Under the infusion of the killing power, the arrow holes on the general's body began to strangely recover. In the blink of an eye, they were as good as new. After the blood-killing general obtained this overbearing body, he was indeed overbearing to an immeasurable extent. He forcefully withstood the attack of the aerolite, god-slaying arrow. This was a supreme archery skill that even the Sky Demon had to avoid, but it did not manage to kill the blood-killing general. That kind of shock was almost indescribable with words. Even the elven princess's calm face suddenly changed. Her body moved, and she stood up from the throne. What kind of living being is this? It actually has such overbearing killing power. What a strong body. Is it a puppet? No, it's not a puppet. It has a body and a divine soul. This is a different kind of terrifying race. The elven princess's eyes shone with a strange light as she muttered to herself. Bang, bang, bang. Tion was furious. He looked at the elven princess coldly and said coldly, "No matter who you are, I must kill you today. Heaven primary elixir, make I go completely berserk." Buzz, buzz, buzz. Another 1,000,000 heaven primary elixirs flew out from the imperial treasure vault and poured into the ancient city. They directly entered the Black Lotus avatar that had merged with the ancient city. Suddenly, the Black Lotus burst out with incomparably bright black divine light. The entire ancient city seemed to have a life of its own as it let out a terrifying roar. Rays of divine light shot out from the ancient city. The entire ancient city turned into a crystal divine city. Countless runes appeared in the ancient city, and countless restrictions flickered. It revealed a ferocious aura. 1,000,000 heaven primary elixirs poured into the Black Lotus, causing the entire ancient city to erupt with shocking power. A vast and ancient aura suddenly shrouded the ancient city. At this moment, the ancient city erupted. It actually emitted a supreme aura that was comparable to that of a peerless expert. In the vastness of the aura, countless spatial faults in the surrounding void were annihilated. How terrifying! Heaven primary elixirs. How could they have so many heaven primary elixirs? 1,000,000. They actually sent them into the ancient city for it to devour. Waste. This is simply a waste. A reckless waste of God's gifts. A reckless waste of God's gifts. With so many heaven primary elixirs, it's enough for an ordinary person to become an emperor-level expert. The heavenly yuan pill is a supreme elixir that can only be refined by one who has reached the level of an ancient giant or supremacy. Only then can one absorb the natural yuan qi and refine it. Even the ancient giants can only condense 100,000 heaven primary elixirs in a year without stopping. Taking out 1 million heaven primary elixirs in one go is something that even the ancient giants would need to spend 10 years to do. This ancient city is terrifying. Look at those materials, they're not of the 5 elements at all. Yet, they are compatible with the power of the 5 elements. I can also feel the power of faith in them. The ancient city can devour heaven and earth yuan qi to become stronger, and devour the power of faith to become stronger. My God, could it be that in this world, apart from the 10 divine artifacts of the 10 immortal sects, another supreme divine artifact will appear? No, this ancient city hasn't matured yet. It can't be compared to the 10 divine artifacts. I'm afraid that if they fight, the ancient city will be destroyed. A supreme divine artifact is something that took a lot of effort to refine. The most terrifying ones are the blood-killing guards and the blood-killing generals. What kind of strong cultivators are they? Each of the blood-killing generals has the strength to surpass the sky demon realm. Even the peerless archery skill, God-killing meteor arrow, couldn't kill them. They use their bodies to block the attack. They're too strong. And the blood-killing guards, they're all saints. My God, 100,000 demon saints. Even the 10 immortal sects would not dare to provoke them. For a moment, the eruption of the demon city shook the hearts of the experts. With the support of the heaven primary elixir, the ancient city showed its true potential for the first time. It was almost like an ancient demon god. The existence of the blood-killing generals and blood-killing guards was even more shocking. With 18 heavenly demons, as powerful as heavenly demons, and 100,000 heavenly demons, as powerful as heavenly demons combined, it was enough to form a super force. Even the 10 immortal sects would not dare to provoke them. The destructive power of that force was too strong. Even if the 10 immortal sects had the strength to suppress it, they would not act rashly. After all, if they fought, they would lose 800 if they killed 3,000 enemies. At the moment when the 100 tribes were about to return, no one would easily damage their strength. This is the elf princess, who had been calm all this while, felt the vast pressure erupting from the demon city. Her expression finally changed. All of a sudden, his expression became quite solemn. A strong sense of threat flashed in her heart. Activate the restriction immediately and condense the Abyss War demons. The elf princess calmly gave the order. When the 10 sky demon heard it, they looked at each other and suddenly blasted at their respective positions. The ground shook violently, and cracks appeared on the battle island. Rumble. On the cracked ground, 9 pitch-black demonic pillars were emitting endless demonic light. They soared into the sky from the battle island. Those demonic pillars were incomparably thick. Inside them, one could clearly see what was inside. Whose body is sealed in the sky demon pillar? Unexpectedly, it was completely separated. There's also a terrifying aura inside. Each of the 9 demonic pillars had a part of a body sealed in it. Roar. Destruction. Great destruction. Suddenly, the great destruction demonic god, who had been standing tall in the fiendish demon battlefield after swallowing up the entire demonic mountain, suddenly reappeared with his 30-kilometer-tall demonic body. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support legal reading. Chapter 619. My first update has arrived. Brothers, give me your best. I'm going all out. Those who have monthly votes, please spend too. Those behind are catching up. The Great Destruction Demon God was the trump card left behind by Shrouding Heaven's Great Emperor. It was a terrifying killing move prepared to prevent anyone from breaking the seal of the five-finger demon mountain. After devouring the boundless demonic chi in the five-finger demon mountain, the great destruction demon god's body expanded to 100,000 feet in an instant. Flesh and blood grew all over his body, making him look like a real demon god. The originally illusory great destruction spear in his hand became lifelike, no longer looking like an illusion. Instead, a terrifying will of destruction gathered in the spear. The space around the spear could not withstand it at all. Naturally, the suppression of the will caused the space around the spear to shatter again and again, repeating the scene of destruction. The terrifying demonic aura was comparable to that of a peerless expert. Roar! The great destruction demon god raised his head to the sky, and the light of destruction flickered in his eyes. He stared at the huge body of the thousand-demon city and suddenly let out a demonic roar. As soon as the demonic roar sounded, a terrifying wave of air swept out in all directions with the great destruction demon god as the center. Bang! 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 Wherever the chi wave passed, the ground shook violently. Countless cracks spread out in all directions like a spiderweb. It was like shattered glass, presenting a terrifying scene. After the cracks appeared, the ground began to collapse. The mountains suddenly turned into dust, and the grass and trees instantly withered, except for the position where the great destruction demon god stood. The rest of the world, at a speed visible to the naked eye, they were being destroyed crazily. It was a terrifying scene of the great apocalypse collapsing the world. Large areas of the fiendish demon battlefield collapsed. The collapse turned into a terrifying abyss. The entire battlefield completely collapsed in the blink of an eye. Peerless demon god. The great destruction demon god was devouring the boundless demonic chi. In a short time, his combat strength had increased to that of a demon god great emperor, which was the realm of a peerless expert. Although he could not last long, he could erupt with incredible destructive power at this moment. The strength of his ferocious aura instantly swept across the entire world. The world could not help but tremble violently. Great destruction. The great destruction demon god roared and instantly raised the great destruction spear in his hand. His 100,000 feet demon body between heaven and earth. With a wave of his hand, the spear blasted toward the thousand-demon city. Boom, boom, boom. The battle spear shot out from below, and before it even touched the ancient city, 10 subterranean worlds appeared beneath it. Within each of these subterranean worlds, boundless lightning was being nurtured, exploding, shuttling back and forth, unleashing terrifying power. Anyone who wanted to attack the ancient city from below would have to suffer the bombardment of endless lightning. However, at this moment, the great annihilation battle spear truly burst forth with the most terrifying destructive power. Within the battle spear, the will of the great annihilation battle spear roared as pitch-black demonic runes appeared unceasingly. It directly pierced into the tenfold underground world. Boom, 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 boom. As the spear pierced through, the countless lightning bolts were like stray cats that had caught the scent of blood. The overwhelming force smashed towards the battle spear. Cataclysm. Inside the battle spear, a supreme intent roared. Immediately, all the lightning collapsed before it could hit the battle spear. It was unimpeded all the way, piercing through layers of subterranean worlds. It pierced through 7 layers in succession. At the 8th layer, the power of the countless lightning bolts was even stronger. Finally, they smashed onto the battle spear, erupting with terrifying destructive power, wanting to shatter the battle spear. However, the battle spear shook violently, directly shattering all the lightning bolts. With the momentum of destroying everything, it blasted open all the restrictions. With a loud bang, it blasted onto the true body of the ancient city. Rumble. This spear could even pierce through heaven and earth. It was mixed with the killing blow of a peerless demonic god, blasting onto the ancient city. The ancient city, which was completely made of divine crystals, immediately burst out with endless crystal light, blocking the battle spear. The ancient city was completely berserk. It swallowed 1,000,000 heaven essence pills, turned them into a sea of innate vitality, and poured into the ancient city. Its power could faintly contend with a peerless powerhouse. When it collided with the great annihilation battle spear, a destructive storm erupted on the spot. Between the ancient city and the battle spear, the entire void was destroyed and turned into chaos. Countless earth, fire, water, and wind swept wildly in the surroundings. It was like the end of the world. Boom! Caught off guard, the demon city was directly blasted into the sky by the spear. The space shook and the void collapsed. Countless spatial faults were destroyed. A spatial storm spewed out. It was blasted thousands of feet away. However, the great destruction demonic god did not have it easy either. The ancient city erupted, and its aura was so strong that it was comparable to a peerless powerhouse. The power emitted from the ancient city caused the great destruction battle spear to crumble inch by inch. The ground where the great destruction demonic god stood collapsed on the spot. It was completely annihilated. Berserk, berserk, completely berserk. Great destruction demonic god, you're just a mere incarnation. How dare you try to stop me? You're courting death. Today, I'll suppress you first. D-Shirkin's black hair danced wildly behind him. He glanced coldly at the great destruction demonic god below. The sudden attack had completely ignited the anger in his heart. Since you're courting death, I'll suppress you first and blast you to pieces. You're just a mere incarnation that doesn't even have a physical body. Today, I'll smash you to pieces first. Rumble. The stellar demon seal tablet drew in endless star power from the ancient star space and poured it into the ancient city. It stimulated the ancient city's endless potential and turned into a crystal divine city. Countless talismans flickered crazily. A vast ancient aura leaked out from the ancient city. With a loud bang, it fiercely slammed into the great destruction demonic god below. Bang! The ancient city slammed into the great destruction demonic god's body. However, it was the great destruction demonic god's terrifying fist that collided. Countless stars bombarded this fist, and the eternal divine thunder roared and smashed down. It was pure power. Almost instantly, the arm in front of the ancient city was shattered, devouring the five-finger demonic mountain in exchange for the power of a single blow. In that case, I'll smash you to pieces today. Crash, 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 and kill you. D-Shirkin's heart turned cold. He realized that the great destruction demonic god could only unleash a supreme power that was comparable to an unparalleled expert's attack. After that, its power dropped instantly. This was a sure kill attack that used the vast amount of demonic chi in the five-finger demonic mountain. Unfortunately, the Thousand Demon City was incomparably ferocious. After devouring millions of heaven primary pills, it went completely berserk. It was enough to block the attack of an unparalleled expert. After failing to destroy the Thousand Demon City with one blow, it was D-Shirkin's turn to show his prowess. Bang! I'll smash you to death. I'll suppress you to death. Sky-shrouding Great Emperor. This time I'll smash your incarnation first. Bang! In the future, I'll smash you too. Even if you're the Great Emperor of the demonic god race, you'll have to pay 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times the price for suppressing me. I'm the Emperor, and I won't be humiliated. Whoever humiliates me will die. Bang! Boom! 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 The Thousand Demon City slammed into the great destruction demonic god's head from high up in the sky. On the spot, the great destruction demonic god's head crumbled inch by inch. With a loud bang, the great destruction demonic god's body was smashed into pieces by D-Shirkin's ancient city. Demonic chi swept out in all directions. In an instant, the surrounding 10,000 miles turned into a pitch-black demonic domain. Even though Great Emperor, shrouding Great Emperor, had unparalleled demonic arts, he didn't expect Tion to be able to create such a peerless divine city like the Thousand Demon City. He even obtained the heavenly primary elixir and evolved an enormous amount of connate essence chi, causing the ancient city to go berserk and erupt with supreme power comparable to a peerless expert. Not only did Tion block his final attack, he thought that even if Tion was lucky enough to escape the seal, he wouldn't be able to withstand the great destruction demonic god's destructive attack. He didn't expect Tion to be so fierce. Not only did he break out of the seal, but he also crushed the great destruction demonic god. His ferocious aura was terrifying to the extreme. Buzz, buzz. The ancient city hung in the void. After crushing the great destruction demonic god, it was shrouded in a layer of boundless, ferocious aura. It was like an ancient beast, ferocious and domineering, dominating the world. Tion's gaze swept across the Abyss Battle Island. On the Abyssal Battle Island, each of the 9 sky-reaching demonic pillars had a section of a demonic body sealed within them. There was a head, 2 arms, 2 legs, and 4 pairs of pitch-black demonic wings. After the sky demon pillars appeared, countless demonic runes quickly appeared. In the blink of an eye, the pillars collapsed, forming hundreds of millions of talismans that quickly entered the severed body parts. Roar! A faint roar could be heard from the severed body parts. After the talismans entered the severed body parts, an endless amount of demonic aura rushed madly into the severed body parts. In an instant, each of the severed body parts exploded with vigorous vitality. The war demon of the abyss, the fallen demonic god. Follow my orders. Awaken once more and destroy the ancient city for me. I will use all living beings in the demon realm as sacrifices. The elven princess looked at the severed body parts of the demon god and said with a solemn expression, "Suddenly, a supreme will emerge from the 9 broken parts of the body." It flew up into the sky and quickly gathered in the air. With a huge amount of demonic chi, it condensed into a giant demonic god that was 80,000 feet tall. The 4 pairs of demonic wings on the demonic god's back glowed with demonic brilliance. The pitch-black feathers were like sharp arrows. Endless demonic aura gathered toward the demonic wings on its back. Vaguely, it was as if a peerless demon god was awakening. An incomparably terrifying aura spread invisibly across the entire demon realm. Ha ha ha! Just as the terrifying fallen demon god was about to awaken, suddenly, a wild laughter came from outside the realm. The laughter was filled with endless excitement. I didn't expect that I would have such luck. As soon as I arrived, I encountered the body of a fallen demon god. The fallen demon gods in the endless abyss are all upper-level demon gods. I can't believe such a good thing happened to me. TSK, TSK. It's a good furnace with only a remnant will but no demonic soul. It's like the heavens are looking out for me. Since that's the case, it would be impolite of me to refuse. With this demonic body, my recovery will be just around the corner. To be continued, if you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 620. A burst of ecstatic laughter spread from the outer realm to the demon realm. At the same time, a sea of blood light rushed over like a tide. In the blink of an eye, it formed a sea of blood and rushed into the demon realm. Splash! The monstrous sea of blood instantly enveloped tens of thousands of miles of the void, blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Countless streams of blood roared, tumbled, and surged, wave after wave. It was as if one was watching the waves on the shore. The shocking color of blood covered everyone's eyes. This was a blood tide, a blood wave, and a blood sea. Above the blood sea, a wicked young man in a blood-red robe smiled wickedly. His eyes were excitedly looking at the fallen demon god's body on the Abyss Battle Island. Without hesitation, he controlled the blood sea and rushed down to the Abyss Battle Island. "How dare you? Those who dare to offend the princess will be killed. When the 10 heavenly demons saw the blood sea pouring down, their faces changed. They raised the star heavenly demon blades in their hands and slashed at the blood sea, creating countless terrifying afterimages. They wanted to cut the blood sea into pieces. The 10 saber lights were like 10 terrifying pillars of light that reached the heavens, chopping down with overwhelming auras. Rumble. The battle strength of the sky demon was almost immeasurable. The demon weapon in his hand was even more powerful. Almost in an instant, the blood sea was cut into countless pieces. Tisk, TSK, you're just a few inferior demon gods. How dare you attack me? If it was in the ancient times, I would have made you beg for death. Today, I'm in a good mood, so I won't argue with you. You'll suffer in the future. Little elf, I'll take this demon god's body for you. That sea of blood seemed to have its own life. It was cut into countless pieces, but it wasn't completely destroyed. Instead, it continued to move forward. Strangely, the restrictions on the Abyssal Battle Island didn't stop it at all. It easily passed through the Abyssal Battle Island. Along the way, it gathered in groups of 3 to 5. It was restored to a monstrous blood sea. It was down and pounced on the demon god's body. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately, the fallen demon god that was emitting unparalleled demonic might was easily covered by the sea of blood. He was swept into the sea of blood and disappeared in the blink of an eye. He could no longer see the huge body of the demon god. Congratulations to Senior Blood God for your rebirth. The Saintess asked this junior to greet Senior. I'm giving you a demon god's body to help you recover as soon as possible and suppress the heavens. When the elven princess saw the appearance of the blood sea, not only was she not enraged, she instead stood up with a respectful expression and bowed slightly to the blood sea. It was as if they had long known that he would come. TSK, looks like my blood star on the demon god continent has lit up. Blood god Shwe Ini chuckled and said from within the sea of blood. Senior, the moment your natal blood star lit up, the entire continent knew that you had returned. The Saintess knew that Senior had yet to fully recover, so she specially ordered this junior to bring a fallen devil god corpse. Since Senior has already accepted it, this junior's mission this time has already been completed. They were about to return to the fiend celestial continent. Senior, do you have any word for this junior? The elven princess did not look down on the person in the blood sea at all. Her expression was as respectful and courteous as usual. After hearing this, blood god Shwe Ini pondered for a moment and said, Go back and tell your Saintess that before the annihilation tide, don't casually step into the origin. Back then, those old guys in the origin world are still alive and will crawl out from the ground. Don't let your guard down. We'll meet again in the future. Little elf, if you don't leave now, you'll die. After saying this, Shwe Ini did not hesitate at all. He swept up the demon god's body and was about to leave. The owner of this demon god's body was a peerless powerhouse back then. He wanted to find a place to refine it and devour the demon god's flesh. With the power of the Blood God Sutra, he would be able to recover most of his ancient powers after devouring the demon god's body. It would be difficult to find a worthy opponent in the world. If you want to leave, you'll have to ask for Ai's permission first. Tiger Soul, cut off your blood sea. Indra looked coldly at the sea of blood in front of him. The demon god on the Abyssal War Island was sucked into the sea of blood. Looking at the situation, it was obvious that the master of the sea of blood had an unusual relationship with the demon god continent. Seeing that the blood sea was about to leave the demon god realm, how could he agree so easily? Clang! The tiger soul shook in an instant and turned into a 10,000 zhang long battle blade. The golden blade exuded an unparalleled tyrannical aura. The blade was incomparably dazzling. The tiger's soul swept across the sky and slashed towards the blood sea. Crack! The tiger soul's edge was limitless. After reaching the earth rank, the tiger soul completely displayed its edge. It was almost invincible and easily destroyed. The blade cut off the blood sea. Even if your blood sea is overflowing, I will devour your blood sea today. Tion turned his wrist. The blade light was like a drill and instantly swept up the blood in the blood sea. A strong devouring force was emitted from the blade. On the blade, a huge black tiger roared and appeared. It opened its bloody mouth and sucked towards the blood sea. The blood turned into a blood pillar and surged into its stomach. The tiger's soul had the powerful ability to devour flesh and blood. The blood sea in front of it was its food. You can actually devour my blood sea. Interesting, but I don't have time to play with you this time. I'm leaving. A cry of surprise sounded from the sea of blood. However, it was not overly afraid. It seemed that it was only interested in Tiger Soul's ability and was not overly fearful. That was because the sea of blood suddenly and strangely turned illusory. It passed through. The blood sea could actually reverse between illusion and reality. At the same time, the Tiger Soul could no longer devour the blood sea. The blood sea passed through it. It directly escaped into the void. Go back to the demon god continent. Seeing the blood sea leave, the elven princess showed a relaxed expression at the corner of her mouth, as if her goal had been achieved. She called out to the other 10 sky demon and was about to leave the demon god realm without hesitation. You want to leave? Not so easy. Eternal divine thunder, thousands of stars, throw I over. Tion saw that the elven princess was about to leave, and the anger in his mind completely exploded. You come and go as you please. Do you really think this is your home? You don't take us seriously at all. You want to leave? Sure. Let me smash you to death first. Tian's eyes narrowed into a line, and a sharp cold light shot out from his eyes. He activated the demon city. Boom, boom, boom. The ancient city shook violently. In the city, hundreds of thunder-gathering towers emitted strong lightning at the same time. Countless eternal divine thunder smashed towards the Abyss Battle Island like an avalanche. At the same time, thousands of stars, mixed with the endless light of stars, fell beautifully. They pulled out streaks of gorgeous colors. Princess. The 10 sky demon were all furious. The way they saw it, their decision to leave and not bicker with the demon race was a huge favor. Not only did he not know how to be grateful, but he also dared to provoke them. He was simply courting death. The demon god clan was originally warlike. Facing such a situation, they all roared on the spot. Smash him to death. Without any superfluous words, the 10 sky demon poured all their power into the Abyss Battle Island, turned around, and crazily smashed towards the demon city. With the demon god's natural hostility and ferociousness, the two colossal objects, each with supreme ferocity, roared and crashed into each other. Bang! A terrifying sound filled the entire demon realm. Whether it was the Abyss Battle Island or the demon city, they were the most terrifying treasures in the world. Especially the ancient city, which was in a frenzy. Its ferocity was not inferior to that of a peerless expert. However, the collision directly broke out a destructive storm. In the void, thousands of thunderbolts roared. At the location of the collision, a huge and terrifying black hole appeared in the void. The void collapsed, and the black hole almost swallowed everything in the world. Even the Abyss Battle Island and the Demon City were about to be swallowed, rolled into the black hole, and completely crushed into powder. The two colossal objects also retreated at the same time. They discharged the terrifying power. Crack! With a crisp sound, another terrifying crack appeared on the Abyss Battle Island. Obviously, it could not bear the terrible impact just now. The huge power caused the island to crack. The construction material of the Abyss Battle Island was finally inferior to the divine crystal. Again. Tion controlled the ancient city, shook off the devouring power of the black hole, burst out endless divine light, mixed with vast ferocious power, and violently crashed into the Abyss Battle Island again. I'm strong. I'm tyrannical. Today, I'm going to smash you down. Smash, smash, smash into powder. Bang! The ancient city and the Abyss Battle Island crazily collided again and again, emitting endless demonic brilliance and divine light. The collision caused the void to collapse, and the earth to crack. The collision caused the sun and moon to lose their light. For a moment, the entire void was broken, and there were thousands of holes in it. With a boom, the barrier of the underground world was broken, and it rushed to the surface. Boom! Boom! Countless demons were roaring, and thousands of divine lightning struck down. It almost collapsed countless voids. Everywhere it went, there was a doomsday scene. The mountains collapsed, and the sky was broken. Countless creatures were destroyed on the spot. I'm going to destroy your broken city. The 10 sky demon roared, and their anger overflowed. The abyss battle island under them was almost covered with countless cracks. It looked ferocious and terrifying, as if it would be completely destroyed at any time, instantly turning into countless pieces. The abyss battle island could not withstand the ancient city's fierce and domineering collision. On the abyss battle island, countless demon gods' bodies collapsed and died. The abyss battle island could not compete with the ancient city. It angered the 10 sky demon on the spot. Each of them waved their demonic blades, and terrifying blades tens of thousands of feet long condensed in the void. As if splitting the sky and earth, they directly slashed at the demon city. 10 terrifying blade lights slashed at the ancient city. Rumble. The ancient city's massive heavenly cycle stellar array and divine restriction released an unparalleled power, blocking the terrifying blade lights. Smash you! The divine light in Di Shirtian's eyes flickered, and with unparalleled ferocity, he domineeringly crashed into the abyss battle island again. Rumble. Ah! Shrill screams, accompanied by terrifying shattering sounds, resounded through the sky. The abyss battle island, which was hundreds of thousands of feet long, collapsed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Rumble. At the same time, a vast pressure came from the void, as if an ancient god had descended. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 621. The third update has been delivered. The third update is over. I'm doing my best, and I hope my brothers will do their best too. Monthly votes are in short supply. The ones behind are catching up. Fierce, as expected of the fierce demon who dared to seize treasures in the 1,000 treasures Crimson tied back then. Such a collision, barbaric, it's really barbaric. It's too damn barbaric, too exciting. What a domineering aura. It's even more domineering than an emperor. I really don't know what this ancient city is made of. The city body is too sturdy. It's also integrated with the membrane of heaven and earth, a domineering divine restriction. The power of the stars is added to it. Just the city body alone, I don't know how many heavenly materials and earthly treasures were used. If you want to forge it, you'll need several treasure mountains to fill it. This 10,000 demon city is really fierce. Even the abyss battle island was destroyed. Even the unparalleled demon god was suppressed. It was destroyed. It's too terrifying. It's too fierce. To be able to create such an unparalleled fierce city, he's definitely a hero. I'm afraid that with this city as a foundation, the demon clan will have the opportunity to rise, and the source continent will become even more chaotic in the future. The 100 races have returned, and the demon clan has 100 feet, dying but not reining in. This time, monstrous chaos is unavoidable. Look, that's the aura of the 10 great divine artifacts. Di Shirtian controlled the demon city, completely turning into a mad demon, and crashed into the battle island again and again, forcibly shattering the entire battle island. It was almost terrifying to the extreme. This scene, in the eyes of the experts, was simply the most terrifying scene in the world. That fierce aura almost frightened their souls. That boundless domineering aura. Unparalleled fierce aura. It's breathtaking. One by one, the spies thought that this ancient city would most likely be the most ferocious ancient city in the world. Not only was it tyrannical and hard, but it also had boundless offensive power. In front of this ancient city, Even the ancient giants would be suppressed. It was really too fierce. He vaguely compared the 1,000-demon city to the 10 great divine artifacts of the world. However, when Indra smashed the island into pieces, his domineering power directly caused the bodies of the 100,000 eight-armed demon gods on the island to explode on the spot. Just as he was about to take advantage of the victory to pursue and kill the 10 heavenly demons and the elf princess, a vast divine power spread out in the void like a tide, suppressing this turbulent void. The demon gods deserved to be killed, and so did the Yao. Don't think that just by creating a broken city, you can reverse the fate of your Yao race. Today, I will completely destroy your broken city. I'll let you see how powerful the 10 supreme artifacts are in this world. How dare a grain of rice emit light? 10,000 green lotus swords, green lotus sword chi, cut the void. Amidst the boundless divine light, a gigantic green lotus that was hundreds of thousands of feet long appeared in the void. Countless streaks of sword chi flashed continuously on the green lotus's surface, forming layers upon layers of lifelike petals. As the green lotus spun, the petals were constantly vanishing. It devoured the surrounding yuan chi. Countless streaks of sword chi were born. 10,000 green lotus swords. One of the 10 great supreme divine artifacts, the 10,000 green lotus swords had arrived. My goodness, this is the 10,000 green lotus swords of the 10 great supreme divine artifacts. I didn't expect it to intervene at this time. It's like the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. It wants to sweep the battlefield and plunder the spoils of war. The flesh and blood of the demon gods can be used to refine elixirs, and the demonic treasures are even more powerful. The fragments of the Abyss Battle Island were all made of Abyss cold iron. It's a huge fortune to get it, especially the moon-gazing constellation bow in the elven princess's hand. It's one of the ancient demonic treasures of the demon god continent. Its power is almost immeasurable. If we can suppress the 1,000-demon city as well, the fortune we'll make will be extraordinary. This is going to be a good show. Although the ancient city is arrogant, it's still a far cry from the 10 great supreme divine artifacts that suppress the heavens. Let's see which of these 2 supreme treasures is more powerful. The appearance of the 10,000 green lotus swords shocked countless experts on the spot. At the same time, it also aroused a kind of excitement. They wanted to see which of the 10 great supreme divine artifacts collided with the ancient city or the strongest divine city designed by Tianjizi. They wanted to see which one was more powerful and which one would win. None of them dared to blink their eyes, fearing that they would miss the most essential scene. Whoosh! The 10,000 green lotus swords spun round and round. On the lotus, countless lotus flowers formed by the green lotus sword chi bloomed, like the purest and most beautiful immortal flower between heaven and earth. Countless petals fell and drifted down. They quickly scattered in all directions like snowflakes. Those gorgeous and magical petals were like dancing fairies. In the blink of an eye, they filled the entire sky. They covered the sky and the earth. They swept directly towards the 1,000-demon city. Every petal was so perfect and holy. No one had the heart to blaspheme it. The cosmic stars formation draws the power of the stars. The 9 heavens, 10 earths, God, slaying demon, slaying seal. Protect the ancient city. Eternal divine thunder. Smash eye to the green lotus swords. 1,000-demon city. Smash through. The moment Di Shirtian saw the 10,000 green lotus swords, he already understood that the intervention of the 10 great supreme divine sects must be to attack him, and even to plunder the previous fruits of victory. To think that he could ignore the remaining demon gods for the time being and directly attack him. He was simply selfish to the extreme. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Humph! Since I dare to show my trump card, I am not afraid of you, oriole. Today, even if I am not a match for you, I will give the 10 great supreme divine sects a painful deterrence. I will let you know that the human race is not the only overlord in heaven and earth. Di Shirtian's heart was as cold as ice. He had already predicted that such a situation would happen. Although the 10 great supreme divine weapons suppressed the heavens and deterred thousands of worlds, the thousand-demon city was made of divine crystals. Under the embryonic membrane of heaven and earth, it was perfectly integrated and incomparably tough. Although there were no connate spirit treasures, and all of them were fakes, and their power was immeasurably weakened, he was not afraid of them. Crazy D, the thousand-demon city has just been completed and needs a large amount of incense and power of will to inject into the city to refine and improve the quality of the divine crystals and strengthen the ancient city. Now that there are no connate spirit treasures, colliding with those supreme divine weapons is like a rock colliding with a piece of iron. Do not fight head-on. Leave the demon realm immediately. With the power of the thousand-demon city, it is enough to open the passage, break the seal, and leave through the void. After leaving the demon realm, you will be able to fly freely in the vast sky and swim freely in the vast water. Back in the Million Treasures Red Tide, the 10 great divine weapons were suppressed by the heaven-grade soldier soul. They didn't even have the chance to show their strongest side. If they unleash their full power now, they will be 10 times, no, 100 times more terrifying than before. It could clearly feel the terrifying power contained within the 1,000 green lotus of swords. Within the green lotus of swords, there were also countless spatial rifts. There were a large number of living beings within, and all of them were sword cultivators. They believed in the sword and poured this massive amount of power of faith into the green lotus of swords, increasing its power. After countless years, it had reached the most terrifying state. If it were to erupt, it could easily annihilate a world. Humph, we can't retreat. If we can't erupt with a power that even the 10 great supreme divine sects are wary of, I'm afraid it won't be long before we're eaten alive. Tion did not listen to Dark's suggestion. Instead, he retorted without hesitation, "Fight, we must fight, and we must make them feel pain. We must let the myriad worlds know that I, Tion, am not a pushover. If anyone dares to touch me, I will smash them to death. They must be prepared to be bitten off a piece of flesh. If he is ruthless, I must be more ruthless than him. If he is strong, I must be stronger than him. If I can't be stronger than him, I must be crazy. The strong are afraid of the stupid, and the stupid are afraid of the reckless. Today, I am going to risk my life." Tion roared madly in his mind. In his previous life as a human, he had already deeply understood countless principles. There were times when one could not retreat. One step back meant one step back. As a reborn human, one must be domineering. Rumble. Tion completely activated the ancient city. Large amounts of eternal divine thunder were thrown out continuously, smashing into the petals that filled the sky. Terrifying explosions sounded one after another. The eternal divine thunder was a powerful attack nurtured by the eternal kingdom, the number 1 supreme divine weapon in the world. The power that erupted destroyed countless petals on the spot. Those petals contained a shocking amount of green lotus sword chi, which could destroy everything. However, in the face of the eternal divine thunder, the petals continued to collapse. More stars came crashing down, and the demon city came crashing down. That ferocious and barbaric aura dyed the sky red in an instant. It was as if an ancient ferocious beast was roaring. Bang! The demon city collided firmly with the 1,000-sword green lotus. Suddenly, the infinite sword chi of the green lotus condensed into countless petals that cut towards the ancient city. The sword chi was terrifyingly sharp and condensed. Wherever it passed, the void was cut open inch by inch. It fell into the grand matrix of the heavenly cycle of stars, crushing countless stars in the matrix into dust. The 365 main stars also collapsed on the spot, and they had to return to the starry demon sealing tablet. The small star space collapsed on the spot and disappeared. The first layer of defense of the demon city was completely broken. In front of the green lotus sword chi, it was as weak as tofu. Rumble. Countless petals rushed into the divine restriction and were hit by countless divine thunder. Under the divine thunder, a large number of petals were destroyed. However, there were more petals that passed through the restriction and hit the ancient city. The eternal light was immortal and indestructible. The sealing light was able to restrict all attacks. Endless divine light bloomed from the 4 heavenly gates, forming 4 invisible and illusory walls around the ancient city. The power of the 2 divine stones completely exploded. Countless petals bombarded the heavenly gates, and the sharp green lotus sword Chi cut countless scars on the heavenly gates. However, the power of the eternal stone was unleashed, and the damaged areas were quickly healed. The green lotus sword Chi landed on the divine crystal and cut deep sword scars on the divine crystal. The power of a supreme divine weapon that was unleashed without any hesitation was immeasurable. It caused damage to the demon city that even the elven princess could not do. Whoever wants to kill me, I'll smash you to death first. Before I die, I'll bite off a piece of meat. Smash! 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 Di let out a domineering roar. The ancient city crashed into the 1,000 green lotus sword. To be continued. If you want to know what happens next, please go to www.chijian.com and read more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 6:23. Bang! The myriad sword teal lotus seemed to be connected to heaven and earth. As it rotated, hundreds of millions of teal lotus sword chi slammed into the demon city. The demon city was blasted hundreds of thousands of feet away, and countless terrifying cracks appeared on the city. Many divine crystals were crushed. The entire ancient city shook violently. Humph! You want to compete with our supreme artifact with a broken city? A supreme artifact is supreme. How can a broken city that you simply build compare to it? There are only 10 supreme artifacts in the world. There will never be an 11th one. A disdainful voice came from the myriad sword teal lotus. The myriad sword teal lotus, which had displayed the true power of a supreme artifact, was almost unshakable. Facing the fierce attack of the demon city, it was not only unmoved, but also blasted hundreds of thousands of feet away. This mighty force was enough to shake heaven and earth. Bloodkill guards, return to the demon city. Destroy the divine eye of annihilation and destroy the teal lotus. Sakra's eyes were still as calm and clear as before. Although he was crazy in his heart, he wasn't brainless. The battle with the myriad sword green lotus was imperative. Even if he couldn't win, he had to display his peerless demeanor. Boom! Boom! Under the leadership of 10 Bloodkill generals, the 100,000 Bloodkill guards collected the scattered demon god's flesh and quickly returned to the demon city. They formed a battle formation in front of the southern heaven gate. Whoosh! 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 On each of their foreheads, there was a bloody vertical scar. At this moment, the bloody scars on the foreheads of the 100,000 Bloodkill guards opened at the same time. In an instant, numerous blood-red eyes appeared between their brows. Those blood-red eyes seemed to be condensed from the pure slaughter energy. They contained a terrifying aura that could annihilate and collapse everything. Whoosh! Whoosh! Annihilation Divine Eye. Since Di had planted the lifetime slave seal on them, the 100,000 Bloodkill guards had also inherited the divine power of the annihilation eye of heaven's punishment Divine Eye. This divine power had infinite destructive power. Once it was used, it could annihilate everything and cause heaven and earth to collapse. It was completely reduced to dust. In Di hands, this could be said to be his trump card. If the blood-killing guards who only knew how to kill inherited it, they would be like tigers that had grown wings. With the power of slaughter, their might would be even more tyrannical and terrifying. It had an even more tyrannical lethality. Each of the 100,000 Bloodkill guards was comparable to a demon saint. It was equivalent to 100,000 beast saints using one peerless divine power at the same time. Its power was unimaginable. Together with the 10 blood slaughterers, they were experts comparable to heaven demons. When it was used, it would be 10 times or even 100 times stronger. What? In the Green Lotus, there was a cry of horror. Hundreds of thousands of beams of blood-red divine light of annihilation blasted onto the gigantic Green Lotus at the same time. Around the Green Lotus, countless Green Lotus sword chi burst out in an instant, enveloping the Green Lotus in layers of lotuses. However, when they collided with the divine light of annihilation, a terrifying scene erupted on the spot. Countless Green Lotus sword chi were rapidly annihilated by the blood-red divine light of annihilation. It pierced through countless layers of defense. It slammed heavily into the Green Lotus body. Rumble! Hundreds of thousands of beams of divine light of annihilation struck the myriad Green Lotus. In almost an instant, endless divine light burst forth. Thousands of beams of blood-colored light and green light intertwined, covering the entire sky. The power contained in the divine light of annihilation was something that even the myriad Green Lotus, a paragon artifact, could not withstand. The power was simply too terrifying. It was enough to annihilate a world in an instant. Space shook in the heavens, and Earth trembled. The area within tens of thousands of miles instantly collapsed and turned into the most terrifying chaotic space. It was filled with thousands of berserk turbulence and distorted space. The enormous myriad sword Green Lotus was actually sent tumbling backwards violently on the spot. It shattered countless voids. Countless angry roars came from the Green Lotus. Hundreds of thousands of blood-kill guards attacked together. Under the divine light of annihilation, even a paragon artifact would be blasted thousands of miles away. Good, you've shown your power. Madman D, hurry up and leave. Otherwise, there will be great danger later. Ming shouted crazily in D. Shirtian's mind. He urged D. Shirtian to leave quickly. Humph! This time, even if the myriad Green Lotus is a paragon artifact, it will still be damaged after being hit by hundreds of thousands of beams of divine light of annihilation. I've already shown my power. It's time to leave. However, there's a seal outside the demon realm. No living creature or object with demon chi can escape. I must blast a passage out. Sakura originally didn't have the intention to fight with the 10 supreme divine weapons to the end. He only wanted to give a kind of deterrence to the myriad of worlds, a kind of invisible deterrence to tell the heavens that they shouldn't force him into a corner. Otherwise, even if they died, they would be able to bite off a few pieces of flesh from their bodies. Whoever wants to scheme against me, first think about the possible consequences. The explosion of the blood-kill guards directly blasted the myriad Green Lotus away. This scene was enough to deter those who were secretly spying on them. His goal had been achieved. It was time to withdraw. Boundless power of the demon city, gather in my body and help I open a passage. Divine eye of punishment, divine light of annihilation. D. Shirtian was a decisive person. Once he achieved his goal, he immediately seized the opportunity to retreat. With a shout, the demon city under his feet shook violently. A huge amount of power suddenly poured into the demon body and quickly rushed into the divine eye of punishment. Swoosh! The divine eye of punishment opened instantly. A purple beam of divine light of annihilation shot out directly from the divine eye. Vast majesty poured out like a tide and filled the entire sky. The divine light blasted straight ahead. This time, he wanted to completely blast a hole in the seal of the demon realm. With the help of the previous fierce battle, the demon realm's crystal barrier shook violently. It was a great opportunity to shake the seal of the demon realm and blast open a passage in one fell swoop. He took the opportunity to leave the demon realm. The bright divine light, like a heavenly pillar, blasted into the void. Eternity under eternity, all things are immortal, and the light is the same as the dust. Enter my kingdom, and you can obtain the true meaning of eternity. Just as the divine light of annihilation was about to hit the void, an ancient prayer came from the void. It permeated the air, and thousands of rays of divine light fell from the sky. Countless divine light reflected on each other. Thousands of fairies flew into the sky, and billions of heavenly flowers fell. Stars shook, and endless prayers were recited. An eternal aura spread out in all directions. A godlike, eternal kingdom descended from the void and blasted the divine light of annihilation. Circles of eternal light dispersed the divine light of annihilation. Moreover, the eternal kingdom smashed directly into the demon city. Rumble! Almost on the spot, the thousand-demon city was hit by an unparalleled force. With a loud bang, it smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater. The ancient city shook violently, as if it was going to collapse completely. Without any scruples, the eternal kingdom was extremely powerful. It's the eternal kingdom. Ming's expression changed drastically, becoming extremely ugly. The country of eternity was the strongest of the 10 great divine weapons. Its strength had reached an unbelievable level. At this moment, the demon city, which had just been built, was smashed into the ground without any resistance. Even the entire city was on the verge of collapsing. Oh no, I'm afraid we're in great danger this time. The eternal light of the eternal kingdom can freeze the void and stop time and space from flowing in the divine light. The current demon city is no match for it at all. Underworld shouted loudly. D-Shirkian's eyes flashed wildly. The blood in his body was boiling. The collision just now made his organs feel like they were on fire. Blood rushed into his throat and was about to spurt out. However, he forcefully suppressed it. Rumble! The kingdom of eternity was like the kingdom of God. 9 beams of eternal light surrounded it, and countless prayers could be heard. Suddenly, thousands of divine lightning bolts struck the ancient city, covering the sky and covering the earth like a downpour. A terrifying aura instantly swept through the ancient city. At this moment, an aura of death shrouded every demon in the ancient city. They looked at the divine lightning that was as huge as rain and horror. It was the eternal divine lightning. The eternal divine lightning was extremely powerful and ferocious. If it was hit by such a huge divine lightning, even the ancient city made of divine crystals would be smashed into pieces. Broken into pieces. Oh no! Hurry up and support the massive heavenly cycle star formation. Let the blood-killing guards block it. Otherwise, if it smashes into the ancient city will crumble, Underworld shouted. Blood-killing guards, listen up. Block the divine lightning for I. The blood-killing guards attacked one after another. Rays of annihilation divine light shot out from their divine eyes. They swept toward the divine lightning and collided with it, causing the void to shake. However, the divine lightning was like rain. No matter how strong the blood-killing guards were, they could not block it completely. Still, huge divine lightning struck down. Enough. Just at this critical moment, a cold voice suddenly came from the void. His voice was not loud, but in an instant, it suppressed all other sounds in the world. It was as if nothing else could remain in this world other than that voice. It rushed into the minds of every expert. Even their minds were shaken. Crack! In the sky above the eternal kingdom, a snow-white, jade-like hand silently tore open the void. There was an indescribable charm in her hand, as if it contained a supreme principle. After it appeared, it immediately made the whole world lose its color. Thousands of divine lights gathered in the hand. It was like the hand of heaven. The jade-like hand appeared and gently patted the eternal kingdom hanging in the void. It was as if there was a fly buzzing beside his ear in the summer, and he was impatiently swatting it with his palm. It was extremely ordinary, but it was this seemingly ordinary slap that made it seem like an ordinary slap. It easily passed through the 9 rays of eternal light. It naturally patted the eternal kingdom. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 624. At the end of the month, anyone with a monthly ticket will be promoted. Bam! The seemingly unremarkable hand slapped the kingdom of eternity, sending it spinning away like a rubber ball. No, it was more accurate to say that it was sent flying. It didn't even have the slightest ability to fight back. The entire kingdom was sent flying millions of kilometers away. What kind of divine might was this? A single slap was enough to wipe it out. Whoosh! After the jade-like hand slapped country of eternity away, it disappeared without a trace, as if it had never appeared. At the same time, a huge black chain appeared in the void without warning. It was extremely long and emitted waves of black gas, as if it was unapproachable. It crossed countless voids and swept up the myriad demon city. Then, without hesitation, it retracted back. With a boom, the demon city slammed into the seal on the outside of the demon world and was easily dragged out of the demon world. In the blink of an eye, the terrifying rift that had appeared when the demon city had been dragged out of the demon world vanished. Heaven and earth went silent. Everything happened in the blink of an eye. It was so fast that the spies didn't even have a chance to react. They could only open their mouths in shock and disbelief as they watched everything that had just happened. It was as if countless waves of shock were crashing through their hearts. There was no way for them to recover from the shocking turn of events. Oh, the Tao of Heaven, am I seeing things? The kingdom of eternity, the number one paragon god item in all of history, was swatted away by a single hand like a fly. It couldn't even fight back. This is terrifying. Who was that jade-like hand? Who was it that took action? Could it be that there was a matchless expert that took action in secret to protect that vicious demon? Terrifying. Too terrifying. Even a paragon god item was sent flying by a single slap. Heavens! A paragon god item is comparable to a peerless expert's treasure. And yet, it was sent flying just like that. The owner of that hand is too terrifying. Could it be some sort of undying and indestructible entity? I can't believe the tables would turn at a time like this. Who would help the demon folk? Could it be an ancient demon god left behind by the ancient demon race? It was said that a large number of peerless experts had not perished during the ancient times, and they were slumbering within the blood altar. They wandered through the boundless space and transformed into numerous ancient tombs. Once my injuries are healed, I will break out of the tomb. This time, the demon race has broken free from the shackles of the demon realm. Once the remaining demon race members in the myriad worlds are gathered, they will become a powerful force that cannot be ignored. The demonic beasts would completely break free from their decline. They had the momentum to rise. The 100,000 blood-killing guards are also an unimaginably terrifying force. The divine light they shoot can even blow away the 10,000-sword green lotus. As expected, the ancient demon race is not to be trifled with. The 100 races will return to the origin continent in less than 10 years. Troubled times are coming. I'm afraid another great era is coming. It seems like there will be a major change in the 3 rankings and 1 ranking. The competition for the rankings would definitely be extremely intense. The era of true chaos is coming. For a moment, countless voices of discussion were heard in the void as countless divine wills entangled with each other. It seemed that the peak of an exciting era was coming. Countless experts would emerge. Every time this happened, peerless geniuses would emerge one after another. This was the trend of the times. Taking advantage of the chaos, the elf princess had already left with the remaining demon gods. They entered the tunnel and returned to the divine demon continent. However, at the last moment of their return, they also saw the appearance of the jade-like hand. In their eyes, they could not help but reveal a strong sense of horror. They hurriedly entered the tunnel and disappeared. The kingdom of eternity and the 10,000-sword green lotus gathered together and hung in the void. However, Looking at the two, one of the 9 eternal lights on the kingdom of eternity was destroyed. On the 10,000-sword green lotus, the divine light dimmed, and there were small cracks. The attack of the annihilation divine light had actually caused damage to it. It could be seen that the blood-killing guards were strong. They had been guarding the demon city for a long time. Most likely, no one would dare to provoke them easily. Even if the ancient giants rushed over, they would be blasted to pieces on the spot. Countless experts were also imprinted with the unparalleled ferocity of the demon city in their hearts. Their greedy hearts couldn't help but restrain a little, and their original thoughts of carving up a share were suppressed. The scene just now turned into an invisible deterrent force that deterred them from acting rashly. Time. What Tion lacked was time. He needed a lot of time to strengthen himself, to strengthen the strength of the entire demon city. Once he recovered, with the ancient city as the foundation, there would be a day when he could look down on the heavens. Needless to say, Tian's departure still caused the entire demon realm to have an invisible deterrent force. However, after the jade-like hand slapped away the kingdom of eternity, saving Tian and the entire demon city from danger, and completely escaping from danger, it was pulled out of the demon realm by the inexplicable pitch-black chain. The scene in front of them suddenly changed. Rumble. The demon city shook violently, as if it had been attacked countless times in an instant. It shook the ancient city. In the city, the 9 heavens, 10 earths god, slaying demon annihilation seal, appeared naturally, blocking all the impact outside the ancient city. It gradually stabilized. Crash! The black chain let go of the ancient city with a crisp sound and disappeared into the distance. It didn't leave a word. However, a black light fell from the sky and fell towards Tian. Patter! Tian's body shook and returned to his normal body. His face was faintly pale, and there were traces of dirty blood seeping out of the pores on his body. The attack of the kingdom of eternity just now, including him, also suffered a huge backlash. If it weren't for his strong body, he would have exploded on the spot. He would have completely collapsed. Seeing the black light, he grabbed it in his hand. A token. Tian frowned slightly and looked at the thing in his hand. It was a black token made of an unknown material. There was nothing on the token except for a mysterious seal script. The script was never seen before. It was not ancient seal script, not demon language, nor did it seem to be the language of any of the 100 clans. But it had a unique charm. It was very strange. What token is this? Dark, do you recognize the words on it? Tian hurriedly asked in his mind. This token was obviously left behind by the mysterious person who had just pulled them out of the demon realm. There must be a unique meaning. TSK. I have never seen the material of this token before. And the words, even I have never seen them before. Strange, really strange. In ancient times, I know the language of all clans, but I have never seen such words. It's really strange. But it's also strange. Who was it that pulled us out of the demon realm just now? Dark looked at the token carefully and shook his head. Even with his rich experience, he still couldn't recognize what the words were. However, he was curious about the mysterious existence who pulled them out of the demon realm at the most critical moment. Since following Tian, he had never seen him make friends with any powerful experts. There's no need to guess. I have a rough idea. Tian's eyes were deep as he looked outside the ancient city. He sighed and said, "You reap what you sow." Thoughts flashed in his mind, and he vaguely guessed who had helped them just now. He felt a little emotional. This kind of good karma was formed. Otherwise, today's calamity would have boded ill rather than well. Yeah, we are in the endless turbulence of the void now. Tian glanced outside the city and saw that there were terrifying spatial fragments everywhere outside the ancient city. There were chaotic storms, meteorites, destructive star fragments, all kinds of terrifying rock flows, and a large number of terrifying things that were shuttling in the void. They were shuttling around constantly. There were also all kinds of black holes emerging, and all kinds of terrifying scenes appear from time to time. Even the ancient giants had to be careful when they entered. Once they were sucked into a terrifying place, even their divine souls would be destroyed. Countless storms and spatial blades that could cut the void apart were blocked outside the city by the divine restriction in the ancient city. If they were allowed to charge in, a large number of demons in the city would probably be ground to dust on the spot. This was the most chaotic place in the world. There were as many dangerous places as there were stars in the sky. If one was unlucky, they would be in great danger. Tisk TSK. Don't be afraid. Ming shouted indifferently. The chaotic void is the most dangerous place for others, but you don't have to worry too much. The demon city is made of divine crystals, so it's not part of the 5 elements. It can also devour the 5 elements yuan qi and all kinds of power in the world. Few experts come here. You can take this opportunity to devour the endless chaotic yuan qi here and increase the power of the demon city. The key reason why the demon city could be respected as an unparalleled divine city was that it was made of divine crystals that were not part of the 5 elements. Divine crystals could devour all kinds of yuan qi to increase its power. It could upgrade its grade. As long as it could devour all kinds of yuan qi. The yuan qi here was abnormally chaotic, and spatial fragments could be seen everywhere. It was the best place to refine the ancient city. Deshirtion pondered for a moment and nodded. That's right. Although the demon city is completed, the divine crystals that make up the ancient city are all middle-grade divine crystals. If it were high-grade divine crystals, even the treasure mountain from the 1,000 treasure tide wouldn't be able to support it. Also, incense and wish power wouldn't be able to support such consumption. To upgrade the ancient city now, the only way is to let the ancient city devour endless yuan qi and wish power to slowly refine the impurities and upgrade it slowly. Once it reaches high grade or even supreme grade, it will be the time when the demon city can truly compete with a supreme divine weapon like the Eternal Kingdom. He was not too disappointed with the demon city's current combat power. The ancient city had just been completed, and it was like a newborn baby. It was too much for it to fight with adult strongmen. To be continued. If you want to know the future, please go to www.chidian.com. I support the author. I support the original reading. Chapter 625. Although the demon city had been built, it was extremely weak in all aspects. Only the main framework had been built. It was like the foundation of a building had been laid. However, the real appearance was extremely rough. It required endless energy to slowly build it. The reason why it was revealed this time was to deter those greedy spies. It was to win the most precious time. In the end, it was still lacking when it came to fighting against the 10 supreme artifacts. Lunatic D, don't be discouraged. This demon city has a deep foundation and was created by the ancient number 1 mutant, Tianjizi, who refined the machine pivot diagram. This is the only unparalleled divine city in the world. This time, it was at a disadvantage when fighting against the 10 supreme divine artifacts because the ancient city is not complete at all. Ming said confidently, "You only have 1 stellar demon sealing tablet for the massive heavenly cycle stellar formation. It is impossible to set up a complete formation. To display the power of the ancient killing formation, you must gather 365 stellar demon sealing tablets." At that time, once it was used, even peerless experts would be blasted into pieces. The ancient city's body is only a middle-grade divine crystal, which cannot unleash the power of the ancient city. If it is raised to supreme grade, the city's body will be stable. Even the 6 ancestors of the Tao sect and the 3 Buddhas of Buddhism might not be able to break it. The 4 heavenly gates are just fakes, but the remaining 3 types of divine stones have to be gathered. The heavenly gates are complete. The stellar arrows from before can forget about breaking the restrictions of the heavenly gates. If you can obtain a connate spirit treasure to suppress the ancient city, its power will increase at an unbelievable speed. Most importantly, the current demon city doesn't have a true source of vitality. Nether was very familiar with the situation in the Myriad Demon City. He knew it like the back of his hand. He was even more clear about its potential and flaws. Every sentence he said was a maxim. Source of vitality? Ian's eyes flashed as he muttered to himself. However, countless ideas flashed in his mind. He vaguely understood. Lunatic D, you are now relying on yourself to communicate with the ancient city and absorb the surrounding vitality to activate the power to fight. Normally, they could travel freely in the continent of the Nine Clouds. If they didn't really participate in battles, there wouldn't be any problems. The essence chi they absorbed would be enough to support the ancient city. However, once they started fighting, they would need to consume a huge amount of energy in order to display their battle prowess. Relying on the Black Lotus that has fused with the ancient city to absorb Yuan Qi is just a drop in the bucket. For example, you used up millions of heavenly origin pills in this fight. If in the future, any random battle requires such a huge consumption of energy, TSK, with your wealth, you won't be able to afford it. It won't last long. Ming shouted rudely. Not bad. D-Shirton nodded and said, it's too much for me to operate the Myriad Fiend City on my own. Although, I have a few trillion heavenly essence pills. If I only use them and not use them, they'll be used up eventually. However, I remember that in the Tianji Wanshu diagram left behind by Tianjizi, it did mention something about the source of vitality. Could it be that this is the way to solve it? He thought to himself, unless it was a peerless expert, it would be quite difficult for anyone to operate such a huge ancient city. If they couldn't operate it, it would just be a decoration. Now, it might be able to support it temporarily with the help of the Starry Devil Seal Tablet to guide the power of the stars in the ancient star space to operate it. However, in the future, even the power of the stars wouldn't be able to support such consumption. After all, there was only one Starry Devil Seal Tablet in the ancient city. Moreover, relying on external forces couldn't last long. The power of the stars could only allow the ancient city to stand above the 9 heavens and have the ability to fly. However, it couldn't be stored. You should have seen in the Tianji Wanshu diagram that there are all kinds of immortal mansions, immortal islands, and even ancient cities. It has to be built. It will definitely use all kinds of natural magical places, such as building the immortal mansion on the mysterious ice spring and condensing the power of the mysterious ice spring on the immortal mansion, so that the immortal mansion can use the mysterious ice spring to set up all kinds of formations and restrictions. The formations inside will not dry up even after thousands of years. This is because the power source of the immortal mansion is the mysterious ice spring. As long as the power of the spring doesn't dry up, the immortal mansion will have great power. However, once this kind of immortal mansion is built, it can't be separated. It is a fixed dead object. It is the most common. Another is to directly search for supreme treasures and absorb the power of the treasures to operate. Therefore, in the world, if you want to operate these immortal islands, ancient cities, and even warships, there are only 3 ways. Ming was, after all, an ancient antique from the ancient times. He was very familiar with these things and explained them one by one, making Indra understand tacitly. What are 3 ways? The first way is to rely on spirit stones. It is to rely on wealth, such as the spirit stones that are born from the rich essence chi in the world. The power contained in the spirit stones can be guided out for the immortal mansion, immortal island, and ancient cities to absorb and use the power of the spirit stones. However, the spirit stones consumed by this method are almost immeasurable. Without a huge foundation, don't even think about it. Nether snorted disdainfully at such a method. His face was full of disdain. After D-Shirtion heard this, he shook his head slightly. Spirit stones could be said to be the hard currency in the immortal cultivation world. They could be used to cultivate. Compared to absorbing the essence chi of heaven and earth alone, it was much faster. Most of the time, spirit stones were indispensable. It was not difficult to obtain them, but the difficult part was that there were a lot of them. It was not desirable at all. What is the second way? The second way is what I just said. With the help of various supreme treasures, the power contained in the treasures is used as the source. For example, the Earth Spirit Pearl and with Spirit Pearl in your hands are supreme treasures. They can be used as the source to activate the ancient cities. There should be a third way. What is the third way? Tion shook his head. Each of the 9 great spirit pearls in the world was formed from the essence of heaven and earth. They were peerless treasures and were the key to the promotion of 7 sins. It was impossible to use them as the source. TSK. The third way is the essence chi source I just mentioned. Ming's eyes lit up as he shouted with a smile. This is a method that only some powerful people can use. With the help of various natural treasures, they can condense all kinds of incredible sources. Ming talked nonstop, and Di Tian's eyes gradually lit up as he listened. The so-called source was a place formed from various materials that could devour essence chi and transform it into power. For example, various rare materials, treasures containing lightning, and countless arrays were integrated into it, allowing it to devour the endless lightning in the void and transform it into its own use. It formed a lightning pool. The lightning pool constantly absorbed the power of lightning and stored a huge amount of energy. Not only could it use lightning to temper the ancient city, but it could also release power from the lightning pool in battle. It could unleash all power to the limit. It was not just the lightning pool. As long as one was willing, they could create the raging flame pool, mystic ice pool, myriad poison pool, and so on. Although the eternal kingdom was incomparably powerful, there was still such a source. I see. After Di Tian heard this, he finally understood that if the 1,000-demon city wanted to become stronger in the future, it had to have its own source of essence chi in the ancient city. Otherwise, it would be impossible to unleash the true combat strength of the 1,000-demon city by itself. However, to create a source of essence chi, how to do it? It is not recorded in the heavenly secret myriad pivot painting. Di Tian frowned slightly and muttered to himself. Moreover, according to what you said, the kind of source that is created will definitely affect the future of the ancient city. After all, the 1,000-demon city was made of divine crystals. It could transcend the 5 elements and accommodate the 5 elements. It could even devour all kinds of essence chi in the world. If it was too simple, it would limit the future advancement of the ancient city. If I want to create a source, I have to create a source that can devour all kinds of essence chi in the world. His mind churned madly. Not long after, he had already made up his mind. TSK. Lunatic D, this is what I want. Don't worry, I Ming will support you. There is nothing in this world that is impossible. Ming shouted. The 1,000-demon city is the future unparalleled divine city. How can an ordinary source be worthy of it? When we really obtain the true 4 directions heaven gate in the future, all sources will be useless. Only a Khanate level source can support it. Others use rare treasures to create a source, but we have to use Khanate spiritual embryos to create one. Crazy. Using Khanate spiritual embryos to refine a source of essence chi? If these words were to spread out, who knew how many people would treat them as lunatics on the spot? Even though Di Tian had an extraordinary temperament and was incomparably tenacious, he still could not help but be shaken. It was as if thousands of thunderbolts were rumbling in his mind. He shook his head and sighed. Khanate spiritual embryos are spiritual embryos that are born from the chaos. They can refine Khanate spiritual treasures that belong to them. Such treasures, in ancient times, they were as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. There are only a handful. Finding spiritual embryos is not easier than finding Khanate spiritual treasures. There are some things that one could not pry into at will. Of course, he also wanted a Khanate source of Khanate spiritual treasures. However, that kind of hope was extremely slim. Khanate spiritual embryos were wishful thinking. Yes, I know where to find a Khanate spiritual embryo. Suddenly, Ming gritted his teeth. His eyes shone brightly as he shouted, Let's see if you have the guts to take it. What? The divine light in D. Shirtian's eyes almost shot out hundreds of feet away. His eyes suddenly widened as he was completely shocked by this news. You know where the connate spiritual embryo is? His heart beat wildly as he realized what it meant for Demon City if it was true. It meant that the ancient city would improve at an unparalleled speed. Dark laughed complacently, then raised its head and said, "It's true. Besides, that pre-world spirit embryo is in the boundless void. It is a treasure that my master, the Emperor of the Dead's sworn enemy, guarded for countless years in the ancient times. If not for the fact that the spirit embryo had not been completely nurtured back then, if it was really refined into a connate spiritual treasure by that old fart, even my master would have to be wary." To be continued. If you want to know what happened next, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 626. At the end of the month, throw in a few monthly tickets. Ming said one by one. It turned out that his master, the Emperor of the Dead, had an enemy in the ancient times who was also a peerless expert with divine skills. He was also very famous back then and was called the Myriad Calamity Ancestor. His divine skills were extraordinary, and his title was also announced to the world that anyone who offended him would be entangled in 1,000 tribulations, or even beyond redemption in the end. From this, one could see how overbearing he was. In the ancient times, he was also a peerless expert. There were very few who dared to offend him. He was one of the most difficult old monsters to deal with. Back then, he was on bad terms with the Emperor of the Dead. They fought no less than thousands of times, and each time they ended in a draw. Neither of them could do anything to the other. Moreover, his temper was extremely strange. He had almost no friends. Even so, he still lived well after offending a large number of experts. From this, one could see how strong his abilities were. However, even though he was peerless and invincible, he still couldn't resist the arrival of the Great Calamity. In the Great War of Gods and Demons in the ancient times, he was besieged by several great emperors of the demon god clan. He was beaten to a pulp, and even his immortal body and immortal primordial spirit suffered irreparable damage. His injuries were so serious that even a peerless expert would die on the spot. However, he still managed to leave the battlefield and disappeared without a trace. If nothing unexpected happened, there's a 90% chance that the old monster has already died back then. Ming couldn't help but sigh when talking about the past. However, he threw it to the back of his mind in the blink of an eye and shouted excitedly, "However, that old man's lair is in the boundless void. As long as we can find it, the connate spiritual embryo must be there too. That old man is dead, and the spiritual embryo has no owner. TSK, we can take it away. We can refine it into a connate spiritual treasure as the source." Thinking of the future success scene, his eyes couldn't help but shine. Deshirtion listened to Ming quietly. Suddenly, he slowly closed his eyes. Indeed, it sounded extremely tempting. That was an innate spiritual embryo, so it was hard not to be tempted. However, as long as one had a little bit of brain, they would be able to guess that even if Myriad Calamity Ancestor had fallen, with his divine ability, how could one casually barge into his lair? He was afraid that even if he went in, he wouldn't be able to come out. He was buried inside. This was a choice, and it wasn't an easy choice. Perhaps a single thought could decide life and death. After pondering for a while, he finally exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. His eyes flickered as he asked in a deep voice, "Where is it?" "The endless void, the land of chaos," Nether said with a faint smile. Even though she knew what he was going to do, she still said, "However, you don't need to be anxious. The chaotic lands travel through the endless void. They won't stop at any place. It'll depend on luck to find their exact location. I can afford to wait." Deshirtion said softly. Sweeping his gaze over the surroundings, he continued, With the 1,000-demon city here, we can stand firm in this boundless space. We can wait for the Bedlam lands to appear. Not only that, there are many treasures here. Since there are meteorites here, there must be some precious treasures. This place is extremely dangerous for others, but for us, it's the best place to stay. A wise light flashed in his eyes. They had already made a big fuss in the demon realm. Now is the time to hide their strength and bide their time. When it was time to be high profile, they should be high profile. When it was time to be low key, they should hide. The demon race's foundation was still too shallow. They couldn't return to the source land for the time being. The return of the 100 races would definitely attract all attention to the mainland. The demon realm was even harder to get out. It was like a bird in a cage. Other places were not as safe as the endless void. Boom, boom. After he made up his mind, the 1,000-demon city that had been drifting in the boundless void suddenly trembled and stopped. It stood tall in the midst of the countless chaotic windstorms, unmoving. Even though the spatial fragments swept over, they couldn't shake the ancient city at all. At the same time, the city body was completely revealed in an instant. Several huge, ancient cities the size of Earth were completely revealed. It stood in the void. It was like a huge continent. All the chaotic storms were blocked outside the city. The 4 heavenly gates emitted waves of supreme majesty. It suppressed the void. In the vastness, the divine power was unparalleled. It was like a heavenly city hanging in the sky. The ancient city was big enough to accommodate tens of billions of living beings. One could imagine how big it was. Devour endless primordial chi to refine the ancient city. In the ancient city, there was a space in the void. Inside, a huge black lotus was spinning, emitting a strong devouring force that swept in all directions. All kinds of storms outside the ancient city were sucked into the city and into the black lotus. The black lotus refined them into the purest primordial chi and poured it into the ancient city. It continued to refine the city body. For a moment, the myriad demon city was like a safe haven in the middle of a storm. All of this took a long time to describe, but in fact, it was all the communication between Di, Shirtion, and Ming in their minds. It only took a few breaths or a few blinks of an eye. It was extremely short. The blood-killing guards had returned to their positions. Di Shirtion stood in the sky above the ancient city and glanced at the city. From top to bottom, he naturally exuded the aura of an emperor who was the only one in the world. His whole body seemed to be shrouded in a layer of mysterious color. No one dared to look at his eyes. A natural majestic aura was emitted from his body. "Greetings, your majesty." The moment they saw Sakura, the original subordinates and clansmen who originally belonged to Sakura's bloodline, who had been following him, were all filled with joy. They naturally knelt down to him and said in unison. In their words, they had already addressed him as the Demon Emperor. The title of Demon Emperor was accepted by the group of demons almost instantly. Tens of millions of demons bowed. That kind of shock and power could not be described with words. Moreover, from their eyes, the loyalty that came from the bottom of their hearts also made Sakura clearly feel that there were waves of milky, white energy flowing from their bodies to his body along with the invisible thin lines. At the same time, there was a familiar imperial purple chi gathering in the sky above the Lingxiao Palace. "Greetings, your majesty." The subordinates of the 8 demon kings seemed to feel the natural solemnity in the air. The scene in the God's Fall abyss echoed in their minds. That peerless and invincible figure had long been deeply imprinted in their hearts. There was not much resistance. They also knelt down to Di Shirtion. The Rock Demon King and the others did not stop them. They looked at Di Shirtion with a complicated gaze. Perhaps the demon clan really needs a demon emperor. The Rock Demon King's scholarly face revealed a complicated expression. He sighed in his heart and bowed slightly forward. He recognized Di Shirtion's current identity. Thinking back, when he first met Di Shirtion, he was just a demon king who had just condensed his inner core and reached the second transformation of the demon core. Along the way, in a short period of time, He had reached a point where he had to look up to him. The emotions in his heart were like an endless tide. Then he looked at this unparalleled ancient city. The feeling in his heart was even more difficult to describe. The Blood Dragon King, the ancient Demon Tree King, the Golden Wingbat King, and the other demon kings also bowed slightly with complicated expressions. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Following that, tens of millions of demons in the demon realm also knelt down. In their eyes, there was a hint of deep gratitude. If it were not for D. Shurtion, they would have all died in the cage of the demon realm. They might not even be able to escape from the demon realm. This life-saving grace, it was greater than the sky. For D. Shurtion, it was respect from the bottom of their hearts. There was no reluctance in respecting him as the demon emperor. In this regard, the Gourd, the Boy of Bliss, and even C.S. Sanyang, who were standing in the city, did not refute at all. They did not express their opinions either. They only quietly looked at the figure standing in the air. However, they did not object to him being called the emperor. No one could stop the momentum of the general trend. The Battle of the Demon Realm had completely established D. Shurtion's supreme status. Everyone, the heavens and earth, are heartless and treat all living things as dirt. Our demon race has declined since ancient times. This is a fact that cannot be denied. However, our demon race was born and raised by the heavens. We once dominated the ancient times because of our unyielding spirit. As long as this unyielding spirit is still there, as long as the unyielding spirit in our chests is not extinguished, even if we die, our souls will not be extinguished. D. Shurtion scanned the entire ancient city and slowly poured out the undying obsession in his chest. The city was completely silent. However, in the eyes of the demons, there was a faint burning flame burning. In this world, as long as I, D. Shurtion, am alive, no one dares to humiliate our demon race. This demon city is the foundation of our demon race. As long as the city exists, our demon race's legacy will not be extinguished. Our demon race will rise again and reign over the world. In a vast voice, there was an incomparable determination. It was as if a tenacious belief could be felt in it. It was transmitted into the bodies of every demon race. Demon Emperor, Demon Emperor, Demon Emperor. After a moment of dead silence, thunderous shouts enveloped the entire ancient city and spread outside the city. Even the boundless chaotic storm outside could not cover up the vast shouts. Wisps of imperial purple chi gathered above the Lingxiao Palace at a speed visible to the naked eye. Once he was called the Emperor, all the demons acknowledged him. D. Shurtion officially established the position of the Demon Emperor. Naturally, the imperial purple chi began to gather. This was the key step of the Emperor's path. He had to have his own imperial purple chi. Demon Emperor, D. Shurtion. Boom! With a thought, D. Shurtion's Lingxiao throne appeared behind him. On the throne, there was an endless majesty of the Emperor. As he sat on it, his entire body instantly became one with the throne. The aura of supremacy soared into the sky. For a moment, his state of mind was rising at an incredible speed. As the Emperor, standing at the top of the world. That kind of understanding, not everyone could understand. Looking up at the sky, a kind of unparalleled pride emerged. Ask the world, who is the Demon Emperor? I am the Demon Emperor. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 628. What a tragedy. I don't know what's going on today, but my head is dizzy. I most likely caught a cold. I don't know if I can fulfill the promise I made today. I can only do my best. If I can't, I can only make it up tomorrow. The imperial purple aura continuously gathered. In an instant, a purple cloud condensed above the Lingxiao treasure hall. It enveloped the entire treasure hall. Under the imperial purple aura's shrouding, no evil could invade. Naturally, He exuded the majesty of a majestic emperor. From today onwards, the Lingxiao Treasure Hall could be considered worthy of its name. After confirming the title, Di Shitian led the way into the Lingxiao Treasure Hall. He held Chun Shi's hand and walked to the most honorable throne at the top. He sat down and looked around the hall. In the hall, out of respect, Di Shitian placed great importance on the three remaining heaven demons, Hu Luzi, Boy of Bliss, and Xie Sanyan. He arranged jade chairs for them to sit on. However, Hu Luzi and the others were old antiques who had lived for countless years. Today was the day that Di Shitian became emperor. They didn't do anything that took advantage of their seniority. They just stood quietly at the side. They didn't agree or disagree. Rock Demon King and the other Demon Kings stood respectfully. Then there were Di Shitian's direct subordinates, Azure Dragon Army, Commander Chi Hua, Deputy Commander Long Yu, Shui Linger, Vermilion Bird Army, Commander Ing Kong, Deputy Commander Jin Xian, Peacock, White Tiger Army, Commander Black Ape King Yuan Zhan, Deputy Commander Shi Shitian Quinyu, Xuanwu Army, Commander Xiong Ba, Deputy Commander is temporarily vacant. Demon Guard, Inspector Baiyu, Deputy Inspector Rat King, Rat the 100 Herb Garden, 10,000 Demon Nursery, 100 Herb Fairy by Su Su. Peach Garden, Red Crown Crane King Crane Fairy He Hong Yu. Jade Lake, Green Phoenix Sword Servant Commander Qing Xia. Wine Brewing Secretary, Wine Chancellor Yuan Tian. Think Tank who, all the important generals who followed Di Shitian were present. No one was more excited than them about Di Shitian's act of claiming the title of emperor. Once it was confirmed, from now on, not only would it be righteous, but it would also be legitimate. It would be self-evident that it would be beneficial to gather the countless demon clans scattered across the universe. Furthermore, in terms of status, there would be an earth-shattering change. Sakura looked at the many elites of the demon clan in the main hall, and a sense of pride naturally rose in his heart. Without being angry, he said in a deep voice, "Although the demon city was built by this emperor, it is also the place where the demon clan laid its foundation. As long as they are members of the monster clan, I will treat them equally when they enter the city. They are all disciples of the demon race." Who? This old subject is here. Who stepped forward respectfully and walked to the center of the hall. The city can accommodate tens of billions of living beings. This time, since I am the emperor, there will be no order without rules. No matter who it is, in the city, they will be treated equally. You will lead the people to count and register. Cast the life demon card. Count the number of people. Arrange a place to live. It must be completed within a month. Di Shitian calmly spat out a sentence. This old subject obeys. Who heard, pondered for a moment, and immediately agreed. Since he was the emperor, he had to manage the demon city as a country. Control was the most basic manifestation of the emperor's Tao. Counting the population of the demon clan was the most basic method. Divide them one by one and settle them down. In the future, the demon city would naturally have laws to rely on and traces to be found. First of all, the rules must be erected. As for the life demon card, it was equivalent to the proof of identity. Those with the life demon card were the citizens of the demon city. Once implemented, outsiders could be easily distinguished. Moreover, the life demon card was created using divine crystals and the transverse bone that was melted from the throat of the demon clan when they became demon beasts. It was created by melting them together. Therefore, each life demon card could only be used by its own person. There was no possibility of forgery. The transverse bone, as the first step of the demon clan on the path of demon cultivation, would often be refined into a bead after melting. They would carefully keep it as a memento. At this moment, there would be no problem using it to cast the life demon card. This life demon card was a symbol of identity. It could be used as a demon card. It could store demon coins in the card, and it would be very easy to trade. One card was very useful. From today onwards, the city's Qizhen Pavilion, Immortal Wine Pavilion, Scripture Pavilion, Jubao Court, Forging Pavilion, and Alchemy Pavilion are officially open to the public. With the demon coins, you can enter to buy items. Open, the exquisite pagoda's demon core can enter the first layer of heaven. The demon core can enter the second layer of heaven, and so on. The pagoda will be temporarily open for free for 5 years. Without the demon coins, you can enter the pagoda to cultivate. Use all your strength to improve your cultivation. After 5 years, enter the pagoda again. You will need to consume the demon coins. Deshirtian once again threw out a big news. In order to improve the overall strength of the demon city, he did not hesitate to open the exquisite pagoda. Moreover, it did not require any demon coins. Once it was opened, it would be 5 years. 5 years in the outside world was equivalent to 50 years in the first layer of heaven, equivalent to 250 years in the second layer of heaven, 500 years in the third layer of heaven, equivalent to 750 years in the fourth layer of heaven, equivalent to 1,000 years in the fifth layer of heaven, equivalent to 1,250 years in the sixth layer of heaven. This heaven-defying time difference was enough to cultivate a large number of powerhouses. However, there was no free lunch in this world. Opening the outside world for 5 years was already a great favor. If they wanted to continue cultivating, they would need to earn the demon coins themselves. Your Majesty is wise. When Hu, Chi-Hua, and the others heard this, their eyes flashed with a hint of joy at the same time. They all knew what opening the exquisite pagoda meant to the entire demon city. Even the Rock Demon King and the others could not help but shine. They had already vaguely understood the existence of the exquisite pagoda. The ability to reverse time and space was simply a heaven-defying existence. If it was anyone else, they would go crazy for it. Then, all kinds of things were explained one by one. By the time he was almost done talking, several hours had already passed. After Deshirtian finished talking about the last thing, he suddenly looked around and landed on the snow-white figure. Bai, who was looking at Chun-Shi, who was sitting next to Deshirtian with slightly envious eyes. Faintly, there was a hint of loss. Deshirtian's lips moved slightly as if he wanted to say something, but in the end, he did not make a sound. With a wave of his hand, the meeting was dismissed. Immediately, the demons in the hall left, who immediately led his subordinates to the city to carry out the ranking and record it into a book. For every level, he immediately let the other party take his hyoid bone and go to the forging pavilion to forge his own life demon card on the spot. All kinds of things were carried out nervously and intensely. After an entire month, all the ranking matters had come to an end, and the register was presented in front of Deshirtian. According to the statistics, from the beginning of the demon beast level, there were a total of 137. 65 million demons in the entire demon city. Those who had not reached the demon beast level were all cultivating in the Linglong treasure pagoda. This is mother-in-law. At this moment, Deshirtian was standing in the spring pavilion in the jade pool. Beside him was Chun-Shi, and in front of him was a cloud bed. Lying on it was a lifelike jade statue. That jade statue looked just like a real statue. Its appearance was shockingly similar to Chun-Shi's. However, there were traces of mature charm on its body. If the two stood together and walked in the city, they would probably be mistaken for two sisters. However, at this moment, it was just a jade statue. The power of the jade statue was too real. Even the clothes were lifelike. At first glance, it was a living person. Chun-Shi's eyes were faintly filled with tears. One of his hands tightly grasped Deshirtian's arm. My mother was the Yao realm's Yao Saintess. Her cultivation was already at the peak of the demon saint realm. After sending me into reincarnation, she broke through to the heavenly demon realm. However, in the demon realm, the demon god clan and the demon god clan would have a great battle every 100 years. According to my uncle, my mother was injured by a sky demon during the 9th battle. Demonic chi invaded her body, and the sky demon stabbed her in the heart. She was almost completely destroyed. Chun-Shi looked at the Yao Saintess lying in front of him, and a strong sense of sorrow exuded from him. Even a heavenly demon would not be able to recover from being stabbed in the heart by a sky demon. Demonic chi would invade and devour the vitality in the body. This was a serious injury that even a heavenly demon would not be able to withstand. If it were anyone else, they would probably die in a matter of minutes. However, the Yaoyu Saintess was a rare genius in the world. What she cultivated was a wondrous technique passed down from ancient times, the 9 revolving jade refinement technique. During cultivation, she could absorb the divine essence of all kinds of jade stones and integrate it into her body. The better the quality of the jade, the faster the speed of cultivating this cultivation method. One had to know that jade stones were the essence of heaven and earth. Moreover, cultivating this wondrous technique would allow one to cultivate the 9 revolving mysterious jade body. It was extremely wondrous. When a Yaoyu Saintess was about to die, she activated the technique and activated the 9 revolving mysterious jade body. She turned herself into a jade stone and sealed the last bit of vitality in her body so that it would not dissipate. Moreover, the current jade body was even stronger than the immortal god body. Unless a peerless expert personally came, no one would be able to break it. However, the result was that she became a jade statue like this. Taking a deep breath, a strange look appeared in his eyes. He held the cold hand tightly and said seriously, "Sure, don't worry. As long as I'm here, I'll definitely find the most precious jade stone in the world for mother-in-law. I'll help mother-in-law expel the demonic chi in her body and wake her up again. Servants, greetings, your majesty." Immediately, 2 maids knelt down respectfully. "Pass on my order immediately. Go to the Qin Tian treasury and gather all kinds of precious jade stones and send them to the spring pavilion." He waved his hand and gave the order without hesitation. The 9 revolving jade refinement technique foundation was all based on jade stones. Jade stones were the purest and most flawless things in the world. Activating the 9 revolving mysterious jade body when one was on the verge of death was equivalent to being sealed in ice. Without a huge amount of vitality, forcefully undoing it would probably cause one to die on the spot. Jade stones required a large amount of jade stones and all kinds of precious jade stones. Using the power of the jade stones, one could slowly expel the demonic chi in one's body and heal one's injuries using the most gentle method. That was the only correct way. However, the time and jade stones required to do so would be immeasurable, especially when one had to find some precious divine jades. To be continued. If you want to know the rest, please go to www.chidian.com. I support the author and the original reading. Chapter 629. I can't take it anymore today. I'll make up for the rest tomorrow. Lunatic D. Suddenly, Ming's voice appeared in his mind. It seemed to be a little hesitant, and it was silent for a moment before it said, "Your mother-in-law's injuries are not ordinary. This is especially so when she sealed herself in the end. It won't be easy to undo the seal. Even if ordinary jade can heal her injuries, it won't be able to wake her up. Unless what?" Di Shirkin's heart trembled. He immediately asked, "Unless you can find the number 1 divine jade in the world, the heavenly fortune jade. Using the power of fortune within the jade, it can reverse yin and yang," Dark said in a deep voice. There was a hint of caution in his tone. "Heavenly fortune jade?" Di Shirkin's eyes flashed wildly. This was the number 1 divine jade in the world. It was formed when the first strand of fortune energy fell into the jade during the evolution of the origin continent. It was a supreme treasure. It contained the power of creation and possessed boundless and miraculous abilities. It rarely appeared in the world since ancient times. Every time it appeared, countless experts would fight over it. No matter how hard it is to obtain this heavenly fortune jade, I must find it. I don't believe that I can't exchange for a heavenly fortune jade with all the wealth in the Imperial Treasure Vault. He made up his mind. However, he kept these thoughts in his heart and didn't say it out loud. He also didn't intend to tell Chen Shi. He didn't want her to be even sadder. After staying in the pavilion for a while, Chunshi stayed behind to accompany Yao Yu. Tian didn't have that much free time. There were still many things waiting for him to deal with in the city. Currently, the Hall of Life and Death was being built in the city. The everlasting illusory realm that he obtained from the Linglong Treasure Pagoda was a supreme treasure. It was the best place to train in the world. If he could break through his limits in the illusory realm, it would be an immeasurable increase to his battle strength. It would be enough for him to obtain unimaginable benefits in his future cultivation. Tian naturally wouldn't keep such a supreme treasure in his hands. He would let it be sealed in the treasury. Using it was the right way to go. The Hall of Life and Death was built to store the everlasting illusory realm. Once you enter the palace, life or death is up to you. Tian stood in the air above the Lingxiao Treasure Hall as he looked at the Hall of Life and Death that was being completed. Once one entered the dreamland, it was either life or death. Even though he was in control of the everlasting illusory realm and could easily let the people inside escape, he would definitely not do that. If you want to increase your strength, you must have the courage to face life and death. If you don't have this kind of courage, what bravery, what rise? Time slowly passed. The Thousand Demon City stood tall in the endless void. Outside, there was a divine restriction that blocked the endless storms. Even if a meteor struck, it would not be able to shake this vast, ancient city. They were directly blasted into smithereens by countless bolts of divine lightning. Furthermore, the essence of the meteorite was left behind and absorbed into the ancient city. At that time, there were also some demons who specialized in collecting these items. Things that could be left behind in the endless void were all treasures. After collecting them, they could be exchanged for demon coins in the Jubao court. Therefore, in the Thousand Demon City, what many demons liked to do the most now was to wait outside the four directions heavenly gates for those meteorites to crash over. They could then obtain one treasure after another. Demon coins in the city had become the only currency that was irreplaceable. There's also a huge amount of chaotic vitality that was swallowed into the ancient city to temper the city. The endless void was a very terrifying existence. It was not only connected to the heavens and 10,000 worlds, but also nurtured endless storms and endless disasters. Chaos and even all kinds of terrifying scenes could appear here. Every moment, it was accompanied by the destruction of the void. Generally speaking, almost no one was willing to stay in such a place. However, today, it seemed to be a little unusual. One could see that tens of thousands of miles away from the Thousand Demon City, a five-colored auspicious cloud appeared strangely in the endless void. The auspicious cloud was extremely huge, at least a few hundred feet in size. Its entire body was filled with dense air, emitting a strange aura. In the void, all kinds of chaotic fragments bombarded over, but they were directly blocked by a layer of five-colored halo outside the auspicious cloud. There was no way to break into the auspicious cloud. On top of the five-colored auspicious cloud, groups of armored soldiers were standing solemnly. Vaguely, a faint dragon's aura was emitted from their bodies. There were no less than 3,000 of them. In front of them, two old men stood at the front, controlling the auspicious cloud to travel through the endless void. Behind the old man stood two handsome young men and three peerlessly beautiful young women. Big sister, second sister, this is the endless void. The youngest of the three young ladies blinked her watery eyes and looked around curiously. She exclaimed, "There are so many meteorites. And the storms over there, they are so beautiful." She pointed at the space-time fragments that flew past like a long river. She said happily, "The fragments and storms looked colorful and were indeed very beautiful. However, the more beautiful something was, the more unimaginable the danger it contained. Third sister, you must not step out of the five-colored auspicious cloud. This is the endless void, and everywhere is filled with danger. The most terrifying thing could happen in any place. Spatial distortions, space-time blades, chaotic storms, devouring black holes, and the oblivion beast in the endless void. Every one of them is a very terrifying existence. The young lady in red said with a serious expression, "If we were not in the five-colored auspicious cloud, I'm afraid we would not be able to move around here." Third sister, your second sister is right. Even supremacies, who are ancient giants, have to be careful here. Although we are from the dragon tribe and have strong physical bodies, if we were to be sucked in, we would be torn into countless pieces. The young lady in green said with a smile, "Haha, you three little girls. If Lord Ancestor Dragon had not divined that you would have an opportunity in the endless void, your third grandfather and I would not have brought you here." One of the old men with a white beard shook his head and looked at them with doting eyes. Obviously, he loved them very much. This group of people was none other than the three dragon ladies in the Misty Wave Lake, Ao Qing, Ao Hong, and Ao Shui. The other two young men were the third prince of the Eastern Sea and the second prince of the Western Sea. The two old men in front were the reclusive elders of the ancestral dragon temple. One was the second elder, and the other was the third elder. They naturally exuded a profound aura. They were extraordinary. Ao Shui giggled as he jumped forward and hugged the second elder. He shook his arms vigorously and asked curiously, "Second grandpa, are we going to the fringe? Where is the fringe?" Ao Shui blinked his eyes and asked with a pair of clear eyes. Her eyes were filled with indescribable innocence. "Huh!" The second elder chuckled and patted Ao Shui's little head. He said dotingly, "Little girl, the Bedlam land is not an ordinary place. Although they existed in the boundless void, they were constantly traveling through it. It was also a great opportunity to encounter such a person. Don't worry, Lord Ancestor Dragon has divined that we will definitely enter the Bedlam land." They had come specifically for the Bedlam land. "Second grandfather, third grandfather. I'm afraid things will not be simple this time. I heard many experts from the various worlds and races will enter the endless void to search for the Bedlam land and seek opportunities. It is said that a supreme treasure will appear." The third prince of the East Sea's eyes shone with wisdom. He opened his mouth and said, "That's right. The endless void is going to be lively this time." The third elder said with a smile, "However, as long as you can enter the Bedlam land, you will have a chance to try your luck. The five of you are all extremely talented people. If you can obtain a fortuitous encounter in the Bedlam land, you will immediately become a hidden dragon, soaring into the clouds." Just as they were talking, Ao Qing suddenly let out a cry of surprise. Her eyes widened as she reached out and pointed to the right. "Second grandfather, third grandfather, look, there's an ancient city." With a cry of surprise, everyone's attention was focused on the spot. Even the two old men shuddered, their hearts beating wildly. They thought to themselves, "Impossible. The endless void is filled with destruction and destruction. How can there be a city?" However, they still couldn't help but turn to look in the direction she pointed. In an instant, their pupils contracted violently in an instant. An ancient city, a vast and unparalleled ancient city. How is this possible? Exclamations of disbelief sounded. Outside the ancient city, auspicious clouds gathered. They lifted the vast ancient city out of thin air. In the sky, the vast thunderclouds completely blocked the countless chaotic storms, and a huge amount of chaotic primal chi was constantly being devoured by the ancient city. In the ancient city, it naturally exuded a vast and ancient supreme majesty. It was like a god. The four heavenly gates were faintly discernible in the clouds. It was mysterious. That vast aura made even the two old men feel a strong sense of oppression in their hearts. Southern Heavenly Gate? An ancient city above the 9 heavens. Could this be the Demon Emperor Di Shirtian's demon city? The clouds parted, and the words on the heavenly gate appeared. Almost instantly, a bolt of lightning flashed through the two old men's minds. They cried out at the same time. Their eyes were filled with deep shock. Countless people were spying on the battle in the heavenly demon realm. Although it had only been a month, the news had already spread like wildfire in the myriad worlds. The myriad demon city, which had unleashed its godly might, was the first to appear in front of all the major forces. As for the image of the unparalleled divine city, those who had reached a certain level had seen it with their own eyes. The moment they saw the southern heavenly gate, they completely understood. Could it be that this was the unparalleled ancient city that had dominated the demon realm and suppressed the sky demon that day? That day, when they left the demon realm, no one would have thought that it would appear here. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen next, please go to www.chijian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.